There were 40-something combined trades last year between deadline day and the day before, and there were only 4 on this day. So it could happen today, could happen right now, or it's more likely to occur tomorrow and or on Thursday.
Or right now.
Trust me.
Or now.
I said I would wear my clothing backwards for whatever reason if they don't make a trade. I guarantee they will make a trade, and I am overly confident multiple Padres trades will happen between now and the deadline.
Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 1 of John and Jim, and of course, we will keep you updated on Padres and Mets, and once this thing goes final, we will have full reaction. We'll hear from Mike Schild, and of course, one eye on Petco, another eye on the trade deadline. Jim told you there have been some trades today in Major League Baseball. None to this point, Jim, 25 hours out. None to this point involving the Padres, who are playing their best baseball since maybe the start of the year when they started 14-3, winning yesterday, winning today. You were spot on. You said, listen, Darvish needs another opportunity. Let's see what he looks like his next time out. Outing isn't over, but 3 innings in, he has struck out 4. He's pitched well enough to currently have a 2-0 lead in the 3rd inning. The Padres are playing for a sweep today of the New York Mets with the trade deadline on the horizon as well.
Yeah, maybe the humidity and the heat in St. Louis and the extra day off, like maybe his last start, you could just maybe hopefully say that was a one-off.
It was I guess all 4 of them hopefully will be. Well, there's Rust. I'm willing to give him that he didn't pitch for a year. The first couple of starts, you got to build back up. Completely understandable. The St. Louis thing, it felt like the wheels fell off, but you're right. Circumstances were what they were. Sonny Gray didn't pitch well that day.
And then he gets an extra day of rest.
And now he's pitched like we've seen him pitch before. And it is only 3 innings, but it is absolutely encouraging. You couple it with Michael King and the encouraging news coming out of a sim game earlier this week. And maybe it does lend credence. We'll hear from Jim Bowden, the former Major League Baseball GM for 3 teams. We'll hear from Jim Bowden coming up on Dylan Cease. But yeah, you want Darvish healthy and effective. Yes, you want Michael King coming back, and maybe that frees up Dylan Cease as part of a larger plan for AJ Preller over the next 24 hours, 57 minutes, and 30 seconds.
And the market is heating up. I mentioned in the update, Tyler Rogers, reliever for the Giants, just got traded to the Mets.
Gone.
Brian Hayes, third baseman for the Pittsburgh Pirates, traded to the Cincinnati Reds in division. Now, Brian Hayes offensively sucks. He's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting trade, to say the least.
And that was with Tyler Rogers' brother, Taylor, going the other way.
Correct.
So both have moved today.
Both have been traded today, which is that's kind of wild. That group text or that text back and forth, like, hey, I just got traded. Oh, I just got traded too. Like, oh no. But it is definitely heating up for sure. And tomorrow we'll get, a flurry of trades heading up to the trade deadline, which would be at 3 p.m. tomorrow.
So the Padres have extended their lead. And what you like about what's happening with the Padres right now, it's 4-0. Gavin Sheets is homered. He had struggled in the second half. 4 2-out runs. This is an offense. We didn't talk about it yesterday on John and Jim because the game was last night. Another night yesterday where they score a lot of runs. And this is becoming more of a recent theme where they've scored 7 or more runs coming in 6 of their last 12 games. Kind of out of nowhere. I mean, we talked ad nauseum about their offense. 80-plus games. They were essentially slumping. And now, for whatever reason, I mean, production from their catchers for the last handful of days, production up and down the lineup. Gavin Sheets hitting 8th as homered here today. Mm-hmm. Baseball's a funny sport. I mean, it's hard to be really good for 162 on offense. It's hard to be really bad maybe for 162 on offense. And over the last 10 or 15 days, this offense has looked better than it did previously. That's for sure.
Said this yesterday or last night on the wrap-up show. This feels like it potentially could be another hot stretch incoming for the Padres.
I think they're in it, right?
I think you
win 4 or 5 in a row. That's 5 in a row is a hot stretch.
Mm-hmm. And when you sweep a team coming off of a couple wins before that, now you sweep a good team. Mets came in here, won 7 in a row. So they were on a 7-game winning streak, the Mets were.
Yeah, how many games over 500? I mean, they were at one point with 16, 17 over, and they're coming back to earth as you beat them.
They came in as leaders in the National League East.
Right.
One of the best records in baseball. I think maybe either a half game or a game behind the Brewers.
Right.
For the best record in the National League. And if this score holds right now, Padres lead 4-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Yep. Then You got a 5-game winning streak. Their offense has woke up, and you play the Cardinals this weekend in Arizona. Who says that this doesn't, resemble a little bit of their hot stretch to start the season?
100%.
And what we've said is just if you had just one more hot stretch in you, then you can kind of coast your way, and you're going to make the postseason.
You've been saying that. You're 100% right. I mean, you're going to feel very confident if this 4-0 stretch turns into like 8-2, which is very reasonable. By the way, if the Padres win this game, third inning, but they have a 4-run lead, like you said, the separation between the Padres and the Mets is 2 games. Two games.
What's the Phillies at right now? Because I know
the Phillies are a half game worse than the Mets. So if you win this game, I mean, you made this point that I didn't even recognize until earlier in the week that basically every team that's in playoff contention in the National League is within 5 wins of each other, and they're also within 5 losses of each other. So the hot stretch doesn't mean that it secures your playoff positioning. It means if they did put together a 14-3 stretch, like you said, right, earlier this year, we don't know if it'll be 14-3, but let's just fancy each other with that argument. If they're in the midst of something like 10-2 or 14-4, dude, we might look up in a week and they're the top wild card, or they're a game or 2 out in their own division, or they've got the second or third best record in the National League. I mean, isn't that the point you were making? I mean, nobody has more than 5 more wins than the Padres. Nobody has fewer than 5 losses than the Padres. I mean, I feel like they're a week away from maybe being within a couple of games of everyone in the National League.
This team looks completely different.
Right.
Over the last 4 games, now 5 games so far, they look really good. Obviously there's a lot of baseball left to be played. Got to hold this lead. But they look completely different. Saturday's win against the Cardinals felt like a 2025 Padres win. Low scoring game. Bullpen takes care of the job. They win 3-1. Then they explode for 9 runs on Sunday.
Right.
Xander hits the grand slam. The comeback victory on Monday night, which was very reminiscent of a 2024 second half victory for this team.
Right.
Last night, blow out the Mets again. Score 7 runs again. And today, I mean, we were watching the game before the show, and Manny hits that 2-run single, and you're just like, yeah, this one feels over. Yeah. Now, again, long way to go in the game, but they're playing that good right now that it feels like, they're just not losing these games. And that is something that we haven't felt with this team since the start of the season.
And I feel so confident in the Padres with a lead, which is how I felt about them in 2024. It's not that they're going to be perfect, and they had blips earlier this year. They blew leads. But by and large, we saw it again on display yesterday, and I know they ended up winning going away because Machado hit a big 3-run home run. But guys like Adrian Morejon and Jeremiah Estrada and Jason Adam and Robert Suarez have been so dependable, and other guys in there. We don't give near enough credit to some of the other guys in there that have been effective as well. It's like you give them a multi-run lead. Shoot, a 1-run lead, they sit on a lot, this bullpen. You give them a multi-run lead, and they are shortening games. And this is something we've talked about. Even if Dylan Cease stays, like, you don't need Cease to be the horse that he's previously been. You don't need Darvish to be the horse that he's previously been. You get into the postseason with Dylan Cease, and I don't know if he'll be here, or you get into the postseason with Darvish, you get the 5 and dive effort, Jim. You can win a lot of games if Darvish gives you 5 innings. You can win a lot of games if Dylan Cease is here and he gives you the 5 innings, especially in the postseason with the built-in off days, with the way managers will turn to their A-team relievers with leads. You have a lead after 4 or 5 innings. You're very confident with the group they've assembled that they can hold that lead, which is a really good thing to say. And I think it's deserved based on the way they've pitched. I mean, how could you say anything else than feel confident about the Padres with a lead?
This team is a playoff team as constructed. I do fully believe that.
I agree with you.
They make a move or 2 or 3. We'll see what happens later today or tomorrow afternoon. Then you start thinking to yourself, could they be like last year's team where they get on a roll and the moves that they made at the deadline are really impactful? With Tanner Scott and Jason Adam last year, even Martin Perez and Brian Hoeing for an extent.
Good pickups.
All good pickups, and they all contributed in the second half. But you want to know the main reasons why they were as good as they were in the second half. It wasn't because they got Adam and Scott and Perez. Those guys helped out for sure. The reason why they were good is because the players that were here already. And those players that were here already produced and performed. Merrill had a red-hot August. Manny Machado had a red-hot second half. Fernando Tatis Jr. had 7 home runs in September, leading up to his great postseason run until games 4 and 5. They got Joe Musgrove back. This year's team.
Mm-hmm.
Manny's hot. Tatis is, getting there. Top 4 in their lineup. Like Xander Bogaerts, he's played much better. Luis Ariz, he's played much better. He's looking more and more like Luis Ariz. Gavin Sheets hit a 2-run homer today. You're getting Michael King back. Like you got Joe Musgrove back last year in the second half. You're getting Michael King back here in the second half this year. You have already the bullpen to compete. They keep playing like this, the better you're going to feel about this team. And I already feel that way right now. I just hope they can still, be consistent with how they're playing and not fall off a cliff and be like, what happened to this team?
I agree with that.
Like they did earlier this year.
The thing is, they're not even, of course, they're not going to win every game like they have over the last 4 or 5 days. But that's the thing. I don't even know how well they'll need to play to get into the postseason. And if I'm Cincinnati, I'm not throwing everything at the trade deadline to try to get in. I mean, you're chasing uphill now with the way San Diego's playing and with the other teams in the National League. If you're Cincinnati, you're going to have to play some excellent baseball potentially to get into the postseason. Now,
Ke'Bryan Hayes, he's going to really make a difference.
Who's done absolutely nothing this year with Pittsburgh. There is some reporting here on the deadline. We're going to share what Jim Bowden had to say about Dylan Cease and the Astros on the other side. But the most recent reporting, and this is not surprising, is from John Morosi. This comes 2 minutes ago. He says, definitively, the Braves have no plans to trade Sean Murphy. That had been the initial reporting on their catcher. But according to John Morosi, MLB Network, the Braves do not have plans to trade Sean Murphy. I think probably the smart long play for Atlanta that will look to bounce back in 2026. But the Padres absolutely have had their sights on upgrading at catcher. It doesn't appear as if it will be by turning to Atlanta for Sean Murphy. So we'll hear from Jim Bowden on the other side. Also, by the way, coming up later this hour, we're going to hear from Sean Lewis, who joined us a couple of days ago. Aztecs fall camp now underway. You'll hear what Sean Lewis had to say about that earlier this week. And then, of course, once this game goes final, you'll hear from Mike Schill. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, is on the show today at 5:30 p.m. as well. But Jim Bowden on the other side from The Athletic on Dylan Cease. Is he going to Houston or not? That's next on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, the iHeartRadio Music Festival back. Live performances by John Fogerty, Tim McGraw, and more. September 19th and 20th. T-Mobile in Vegas, 2 nights, 1 stage. Tickets at AXS.com. While the world is listening on iHeartRadio, you could be there. 3 chances every weekday to win your trip for 2 plus $1,000 spending money. We've got your first chance to win starting next Monday at 6 a.m. All the info at sportsSD.com/festival.
All right, so we are about 24 hours away.
No. 24 hours and 41 minutes.
I said about.
Okay.
Almost.
Who's counting?
We're almost 24 hours away exactly.
Correct.
Until the trade deadline.
Right.
And I said this last night on the wrap-up show, and you ended up agreeing with me.
Okay, let me hear it.
But I've come to my final stance on what I think the Padres should do at the trade deadline.
I'm listening.
And that is stand pat. Let me just finish. Stand pat with Cease and Suarez. Do not trade those players. Instead, AJ, go to John Seidler, and say, we need to add to this roster. I can't subtract. I know that you gave me a money threshold that you wanted me to be under, hypothetically.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to add to this roster, not subtract. So I'm going to need the leeway to go out and add some money to this team, because trading Dylan Cease, even though he's having an awful year, or trading Robert Suarez, who's actually having a pretty decent season, and he leads the league in saves, I think would mess with this team. And you can, with a bullpen that you have, add to the bullpen. You need Cease for innings. I don't want to mess this thing up. I want to add to it. I don't want to subtract and then try to add and get cute. So I think my final stance on what the Padres should do at the trade deadline here is don't trade Cease, don't trade Suarez, don't trade Cronenworth or Arise. Those are the 4 players that we've talked about that the Padres potentially would be looking to trade. And instead, go knock on John Seidler's door and say, I need to add to this team. I need to add money to this team. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to add like $30 million, but I need to add and not try to be cute to get under a number that you're telling me we need to get under.
Completely disagree. I'm kidding. I agree. I mean, the ideal scenario for any team that's contending is not to take away pieces that have value. And I would include Dylan Cease in that piece that has value conversation. I know how Padres fans feel about Cease because they've watched all of his starts.
Yep.
But there's reasons to believe that he's going to have a better final 2 months than the first 4 months he's had this year. Plus, we've seen his potential as recently as a year ago when he was one of the top 5 pitchers in the National League. So if you can add without subtracting, any viable contender should prefer doing that as opposed to the alternative. By the way, John Morosi reporting at this hour that the Giants will entertain moving Justin Verlander. The Giants are completely selling off. And
as
Verlander on an expiring deal, and he's not making a ton of money, by the way, and he's pitched well his last 2 times out. Justin Verlander could be on the move over the next 24 hours. But what about Dylan Cease? Everything we're saying, I've said Dylan Cease, I've said this repeatedly. You've heard me say it for days on end. I wouldn't move Dylan Cease. I understand if they do it, but me personally, if it was up to me, I wouldn't move Dylan Cease. But this was Jim Bowden today. All right, Jim Bowden, MLB Network Radio, The Athletic. This is foul territory. This is Jim Bowden talking about Cease and the Houston Astros. Take a listen.
The Dylan Cease thing, I think will probably happen. Now, it's funny because once Ken Rosenthal and Chandler Rome put that report out there, of course, I followed up their reporting, which they did a great job. And a lot of people were asking, well, why would the Astros want Dylan Cease and be a top target when he's 3-10 with a 4.7 ERA? Great question. All you have to do is look back 12 months ago. What happened at the deadline? Yusei Kikuchi at the deadline last year was 4.9 with a 4.7 ERA. Dylan Cease right now, 3-10 with a 4.7 ERA. And what happened? Dana Brown said his data room, I like to call it the analytic group, but he calls it the data room. So we'll call it the data room for the Astros. So his data room and pitching room told him the solution they thought they had for Kikuchi. Kikuchi came over and dominated, went 5-1, one of the best ERAs in the league after they got him in August and September. They believe they can do the same thing with Dylan Cease. And the underlying numbers, the strikeouts per 9, I mean, some of these numbers say, yeah, it might be the case. And so that's why they're in on him. They have a plan that if they get Cease, they think they can get him back And if they make the playoffs, Hunter Brown game 1, Framber Valdez game 2, Dylan Cease game 3. That'd be pretty good if Cease becomes the guy he was last year when he won 14 games.
Yeah, I've completely flipped.
I would trade Dylan.
I'm not trade. I don't trade Dylan Cease. Don't trade Robert Suarez. Add to the team.
Yeah, you're on Team John, because the thing with Dylan Cease, everything he just said, there's a very high likelihood that would play out. That Dylan Cease gets traded and looks like Dylan Cease. And by the way, he can do it right here. They have everything he needs. Ruben Niebla, the fix him mentality that Jim Bowden's talked about before. He can be quote unquote fixed. Some of the numbers would suggest that he is capable of pitching better right now. High strikeouts per 9 innings. Maybe he's been left in too long. Maybe he shouldn't be getting a third time through the order. Maybe the damage has been done. Look at his last outing. The damage was done third time through the order. And as bad as it's been, he's got a 4.7. It's not horrific. A 4.5 represents 3 runs every 6 innings, which is a quality start. But my point is, like, he's still capable of giving you 5 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 3 runs. That's basically who he's been. And honestly, he's capable of being much better than that, because we saw it in 2024. I don't see the compelling argument to do it. He's owed $4.5 million. That's what Dennis Lynn wrote today. He's owed $4.5 million the rest of the year. You're going to move Dylan Cease for $4.5 million? Go sell hot dogs. Go sell T-shirts.
If there's $4 million. If there's this directive from the organization to AJ that they have to be under 261 by the end of the year, I'm sorry, that doesn't fly with me. It doesn't.
Right.
They're over by $1.5 million right now. They're like 262.5.
Right.
And if truly they have to be under that second luxury tax threshold, like John said, no, we cannot go over 261. We have to be below it.
Right.
F that, dude.
I agree.
F that. No, I'm not going to do this because of money. We need to go out and win. That should be the main goal. Because guess what? You said it. You said it in your letter, and only time that you spoke to the fan base through Kevin Acee, that your mission is to uphold the legacy of your brother. And what was your brother's legacy? Win at all costs. I'm not saying go out and be reckless. But if there's a player out there that, and the players that we've talked about, there's really not this big, like, oh, that's 15. He's owed $9 million or the remainder of the season. There isn't that player out there. But if you need to go add 3 guys that equal a total of like 11 or $12 million, just don't be cheap. Add the 10 or 11, $12 million. Keep your team intact and go for it. Don't get cute here at the deadline. I was on the side of, well, they got to do this to get this and do this. And I was thinking from a like, well, if they want to get this player, they have to get this player, or they have to trade this player from their team. But I'm done with that. I'm not going to go down that path of, well, to get this player. No, screw that. Add money if you got to. Don't be cheap, John. Let AJ cook. Because if you're letting AJ cook, then he's not sitting here trying to be, quote unquote, creative like he is by having to trade away a piece already on the major league roster.
Let him be creative with his system. Don't make him be creative with his money. Manny Machado is on like a historically good stretch. Like, let Machado finish off this season. Let Machado try to lead this team to a deep postseason run. Like, do everything you can to recognize that Manny Machado is 33 years of age, and the year he's put together right now, I don't know if he's going to replicate this moving forward. Ride this to potentially a postseason run. Do you want to play Sean Lewis on the other side or at 3 p.m.?
Play him at 3 p.m.
All right, we'll continue on this conversation. Padres are in the midst of their game right now with the Mets, and they're faring very well right now, leading the Mets 4-0. Yu Darvish has been very good, 4 innings of one-hit baseball. So we'll continue on this conversation. We'd love to hear from you, by the way. What do you think the Padres should do with Dylan Cease? 877-767-4760. And what should they do at the deadline? 877-767-4760. You can text us as well, 70470. Started with the word team. When this game goes final, we'll hear from Mike Schilt. Kevin Acee will join us at 5:30. You will hear from Sean Lewis as well. Aztec Fall Camp is underway. Don't go anywhere. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update is brought to you by Cal Fire. Padres Mets final game of the 3-game series underway downtown at Petco Park. Padres lead the Mets 4-0 in the top of the 5th inning, looking for the 3-game sweep. And some trades in baseball today as the trade market is heating up. This morning, the Pirates traded third baseman Brian Hayes to in-division rival Cincinnati Reds, and the Giants traded Tyler Rogers to the Mets. Help prevent wildfire, mow before 10 a.m., keep vehicle chains from dragging on the ground, and never park on dry grass. Remember, one less spark means one less wildfire. Learn more at readyforwildfire.org.
All right, Yu Darvish has been outstanding today. Padres looking for a sweep of the New York Mets. It would be a 5th straight win. And then the trade deadline just 24 and a half hours away. We're with you until 6 p.m. We'll hear from Kevin Acee at 5:30. If you do want to weigh in, you can call us 877-767-4760. Again, 877-767-4760. We'll also hear from Sean Lewis coming up at some point in the next 30 or 40 minutes. But again, you look at these needs, and I've seen them laid out by, in the last 24 hours, Dennis Lim, AJ Cassavell, Kevin Acee. Nowhere in there among the needs is a need to trade Dylan Cease. Nowhere in there among the needs is a need to trade Robert Suarez. Like that's a means to an end, which to me, like, forget about that. Forget about moving Dylan Cease for a second. Forget about moving Robert Suarez. It's not necessary to accomplish your goals. I can't be convinced it's necessary, completely necessary to accomplish your goals. There's no way saving $4.5 million that to me doesn't make any sense. If you're going to do it to save $4.5 million, I need to be convinced the Padres are definitively better if they trade Dylan Cease. Unless AJ Preller pulls rabbits out of everything, and the day that trade happens, I'm like, wow, they got a lot better, Jim. Man, they got better by getting rid of Cease. I can't see that. I think they're better with him than without him.
Unless they do trade Dylan Cease and they acquire a starting pitcher that has been better than Dylan Cease this year, back in another trade or whatever.
My argument there would be keep Cease and get that better starting pitcher. Add the depth to your rotation as opposed to stay where you even are.
Yeah. Yeah. The more I've thought about it the last, 24 hours after, yesterday's win, it's don't create additional problems for yourself that you don't have.
I'm with the stand pat part of it. I'm with you. We're not saying stand pat don't do it.
No.
We're saying add to what you have. Don't take anything away from a team that's playing good baseball.
Yeah. Last year, what did they do? They added to what they had.
Yeah, they didn't have to trade away Joe Musgrove to do it.
Yeah.
Or Jake Cronenworth.
I understand the thought process of, Dylan Cease has had a bad year and trying to get something back for him before he leaves, but you're not a team that's in a position to sell at the deadline. You're going for it this year. Mm-hmm. You're a contender. You look at the National League, you're a contender, not only just to make the postseason, but to win a World Series.
Or certainly get to one, right? I mean, out of the National League, nobody has really run away with it. And even if they did, it's still in the postseason. There's a level of crapshoot to it. All right, let's go to the phones here, Brian. 877-767-4760. Your thoughts on what the Padres should do at the trade deadline, and would you move Dylan Cease or Robert Suarez? Anthony is with us on line one. Anthony, you're on with John and Jim. Thanks for calling.
Hi, John and Jim. Yes, for me, I would develop trade Dylan in the case that we get a Edward Cabrera who has. Because I've read rumors saying that you guys want controllable pitching. Would Edward Cabrera make sense? Do you guys have enough to get him if you trade Dylan?
Thank you, Anthony. I mean, we just saw him in Miami. The guy's elite. I would think the market for Edward Cabrera would be a significant one, and you're going to move a lot to acquire a pitcher. He's got at least 3 years of control. We did this exercise like a week ago, and I remember Edward Cabrera was like, he's going to be more sought after, I would think, than Sandy Alcantara. Numbers are good, controllable starter, right?
He's free agent in 2029, and this year he's making only $1.95 million.
Like, those are dream additions. That's where you need your system. That's where the creativity is your system. Like, can you put a package together to go get a player of his caliber.
That's where you'd have to trade Leo DeVries for that.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about 4 years of a major league starter that has like a 3 ERA. Like that's a really nice piece to acquire.
You're not trading Dylan Cease to the Marlins because why would the Marlins want a rental pitcher when they're not making the postseason?
You're just trading your prospects to the Marlins.
Oh, yeah.
To get Edward Cabrera.
Well, then you're going to have to give up Leo DeVries.
Yes, something. I would take a huge package
like
of players.
A package that is centered around Leo DeVries. Like that's what it would take.
Yeah, he's a big name out there.
And Jeff Passan said this the other day is, Ethan Salas right now, you're selling at his lowest point.
He hasn't even played.
Right, because he's hurt, hasn't played. His bat just has not been there the last couple years. But he also did mention if the Padres were inclined to trade, Leo DeVries, then they have a really strong centerpiece to go out and get essentially anybody they would want.
I mean,
that's available.
I'd be hesitant. Like, yeah, I can say that I wouldn't take away from this team, and I want this team to best position itself to win the World Series. But I can also say I want them to keep Leo DeVries. Like, when you're in a general manager's shoes, of course you're focused on trying to win right now, but you'd be foolish to not consider what Leo DeVries means for the long-term viability future of your team. I mean, if there's a reason to do it, you consider it. But I mean, moving Leo DeVries is a decision that has real ramifications, right? Just like moving Mackenzie Gore and CJ Abrams and James Wood. I mean, you got to think long and hard about moving Leo DeVries. Maybe that's where the creative part comes in. You got to get creative because if you don't move Leo DeVries, how do you acquire the talent necessary to put this team over the top? But I agree with what you just said, which is they already are among the better teams in the National League. What's separating them right now from a postseason run? What is holding them back?
Health.
Acquiring a bat. Their health, absolutely. Getting Michael King back, having Yu Darvish pitch like he has here today.
I don't think acquiring a bat's holding them back.
I mean, I think they do need a bat.
I do think they need a bat as well, especially for their bench. I think replacing Trent Brooks with a legitimate major league bat is something that AJ is looking to do. 100%.
Round out the roster. Complete it. You get in a postseason series, you want Trenton Brooks on your bench or someone that can hit.
But we've said this all year long, and we'll continue to say it. This team goes as the top 4 or 5 in the lineup go, or the stars in the lineup, the guys that are making the most money. Those guys are producing. You can afford to have a couple, quote unquote, black holes at the bottom of your lineup. You don't need to have your 1 through 9 all be all-stars.
True. Even
though I know every fan out there wants that.
It would just be nice that when you're in a postseason series and a lefty comes out there that you can like counter the move. And now you got a right-handed bat off your bench that can slug, or you got a left-hand, you know what I mean?
And you can go to Luis Robert Jr. off your bench.
Yeah, and again, I honestly think that some of it's been serviceable. What Bryce Johnson has provided to them over the last few weeks has provided value. The Maldonado Diaz thing it's kind of worked here in recent history. I'm not banking on it happening, but they need to upgrade their bench. Like I can only say so many positive things about their bench. And then at some point, I'm running out of truths.
They're on the verge of potentially being 11 games over 500 with maybe the worst catching duo in the sport.
Right, and a bench that's lacking.
Yeah, like they can still win games, and they're showing it with an awful offensive catching duo.
Yep.
You can win World Series with an awful offensive catching duo. Like they just need to round out the roster. And we've said that they don't need to make these big moves. It feels like AJ, from all the reporting, is just itching to make this big time splash, and because he can't, do it with, he needs to add or needs to subtract what's already on his roster to do that. It's like I just really hope, and I don't know if it's going to happen. I just hope by this time tomorrow he has added to this roster and not subtracted so he could add.
Yeah, I'll have questions if 24 hours from now when we break down the moves that the Padres made, and it does include moving Dylan Cease and or Robert Suarez. I think those questions will be fair in terms of what is the impact of moving a player like Dylan Cease and or Robert Suarez. What impact does that have on your ability to win in 2025? I think that's fair. I think you'd be foolish to just say, move Dylan Cease at all costs. He's got to go. He hasn't pitched well. He allowed a grand slam the last batter he faced or whatever it was, right? A few days ago. He's got to go. He's not good enough. I just feel like that's a little short-sighted in terms of what their overall goals are for 2025. We'll continue down this path on the other side. We'll hear from Sean Lewis coming up at 3 p.m. When the Padres and the Mets go final, we will hear from Mike Schilt, and Kevin Acee will join us at 5:30. We're about 1 day out, 24 hours out from the 2025 trade deadline. Don't go anywhere. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Jeff Passan today. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We'll hear from Mike Schilt when this game ends. We'll hear from Kevin Acee. He'll join us live at 5:30. Jeff Passan today. We've kind of hinted at this. We haven't said it directly. Passan today. The Padres, as always, are toying with doing something big. That's not just anyone saying that. I mean, Jeff Passan isn't just speaking to speak or saying something to say something. He has the intel to support his argument. So he did write that today. And then Buster Olney also in the same piece at ESPN saying that the Padres will do something to augment their offense. So I think augment mean improve. So Buster Olney saying the Padres will do something to improve their offense. And Jeff Passan saying the Padres, as always, are toying with doing something big. So the smoke is there. I mean, the smoke has been there all throughout this week. We've heard from Jim Bowden. We saw the reports yesterday from The Athletic about Dylan Cease potentially to the Houston Astros. They've been tied to a zillion outfielders, Jim. I mean, literally a zillion outfielders. And now we literally do wait. The good news is it's better to wait when you're playing well than to wait for the trade deadline to save your season. They do not need it to save their season. They are playing well enough. I agree with your point. They're a postseason team. There's a very high percentage chance they're a postseason team, regardless of upgrades. But when you win 5 straight into a deadline, you're not being saved by the deadline. You're using the deadline to hopefully bolster your case.
Yeah, that's what you don't want to do is go into a deadline saying, please save us.
Some random dude with the Angels, like, you got to fix us.
No, what you want to do is you want the trade deadline to improve what you already have and to be a part of the team, not be the savior or try to be the saviors of your season. They don't need a savior. They don't need saviors. They just need upgrades in some areas, and they need a couple bats, maybe even just one, to replace Trent Brooks on your bench. He is the guy that will be replaced. Another reliever to maybe give your top guys a little more rest, and then they can be fresher heading into the stretch run. Same thing with the rotation. Maybe you add a starting rotation piece that, gives a couple guys an extra day of rest here and there. You don't need, and you're not looking for that savior piece, the guy that you're all counting on to, turn the season around. The Padres did that on their own. The Padres are playing really good baseball right now. I was meaning to look. When's the last time they had a 5-game winning streak?
This year when they won their first 5 games, right?
That was my point is have they had a 5-game winning streak or longer since the start of their season?
I don't think so. Not since 14-3. I mean, they were under 500, so I'd be surprised if they had. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not 5.
I don't.
I think it was when they were 5-0.
No, they did win back in the end of April, the beginning of May, before they went down the tank here.
They won 5 in a row?
No, they actually won 6 in a row.
To get the record to what? Is that when they were 12 games over 500?
They were, they were 23-11.
Yeah, so that was their high water mark, was 12 games over. A win today, they're 11 games over. But that's a long time ago since they've won 5 consecutive games. By the way, they need more of this. They're saviors on the mound. I mean, they need Yu Darvish going 5 2/3 shutout innings. They need Michael King returning. Like, they don't need to be saved, but to enhance, this is what they need. It's right in front of our faces, and we all get enamored by the trade deadline. I love it. People like NBA free agency, NFL free agency, hot stove, winter meetings. Everyone likes moves. They don't need to make a million moves. The pieces are in place for the Padres to put together a productive year, which they've already done, but a more productive year. You're counting on Darvish, you're counting on King. So the pieces are, by and large, in place for the Padres, and now it's about upgrading to give you a better shot of winning in October, in my opinion.
And this is exactly what you wanted to see from Yu Darvish today.
Yeah, shutout baseball for 6 innings works. I mean, he's only thrown 66 pitches today.
He has been masterful out there.
I would assume he gets the 7th inning.
There you go.
So he's thrown 67 pitches. He's thrown 11 pitches per inning. I'm assuming he's getting the 7th inning. The Padres lead the Mets 4-0 through the top of the 6th inning today.
He's been brilliant. Brilliant today.
Yeah, I mean, again, desperately needed for Darvish, and I think probably for the Padres as well. And I'm always thinking about starting pitching. Maybe it's PTSD from 2021 second half. They ran out of starting pitching. There have been other examples, guys. If you've watched this team, there's so many examples of them running out of starting pitching. And then I hear for a week straight, Dylan Cease. He's got to move. You could make this team better by trading Dylan Cease. I do not buy that argument. But Johnny hasn't been good. Doesn't matter. He's going to give you the 5 or 6 innings. He's going to help get you there. He's more beneficial than not. Trust me on that. He's more beneficial than not. I just don't see the compelling argument to do it. I just don't. And I'm going to stick by that, even with Jim Bowden saying today he's probably going to move.
Do I, back to the Cease conversation? Yeah. You still ask me, do you trust Dylan Cease in a postseason game? No, not particularly.
No.
But if Dylan Cease is viewed in the postseason like your fourth starter instead of your ace, you're not pitching him multiple times in a series potentially. If you happen to get to the NLCS, or if in the NLDS, you're not pitching him potentially multiple times.
Correct.
You would make it so you're looking to get one start from Dylan Cease and see what you got, right?
The only issue with that, I agree. The only issue with that is if he's your number 4 starter,
and then you go the wild card
and you win
round.
the wild card round, and there's a decent chance you're playing 3 games because it's a best of 3 series. But let's just entertain it. You win in 3. He pitches game 1, and he pitches game 5 theoretically on 4 days rest in that scenario. But it's down the pipe.
Last year, he would not have pitched in game 4 or 5 if Musgrove did not get hurt. He only pitched in game 1.
He pitched game 1
because that was his scheduled turn.
Correct. And who would have pitched game 5 if Musgrove would have pitched in game 4 for the Padres?
Still Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish was on.
He would have been on full rest.
Yu Darvish was on full rest.
Yeah, you're right.
So you're not pitching Cease in a postseason series, a 5-game series, more than twice or more than once.
More than once. But let's go back to last year for a second. And if you don't have Dylan Cease this year, aren't you
then you're
running
pitching,
the risk of being in the same situation in the 4th game you play in the National League Divisional Series?
Yeah, unless you go out and get like Mackenzie Gore or something.
I mean, we talked about Edward Cabrera earlier. Yeah. If you're getting Mackenzie Gore, you're giving up more for Gore than you probably would for Edward Cabrera. I just every argument that's being posed, I still go back to you're better with more starting pitching, especially veteran starting pitching, than you are. Now, I agree with you. You could trade Dylan Cease and add Edward Cabrera, or you could add who's the 42-year-old we've been talking about? Charlie Morton.
Oh, this is Justin Verlander.
Justin Verlander, sure. You could add him. But I would still say, great. Go add Charlie Morton and keep Dylan Cease. Go add an additional starting pitcher because we don't know what's going to happen in the second half of the year. But we'll see. All I know is this. You want to be dealing also from a position of strength. I think playing like this is dealing from a position of strength. You don't have to get greedy. You don't have to do things you don't want to do. You don't have to force your hand. Your hand is good. You're about to be 60-49. At the trade deadline. There's nothing that has to be forced here.
Yeah.
Make moves that you want to make. Don't be forced into a move here because you feel like you have to do something.
Hey, John Seidler, let AJ add. Don't put handcuffs on him here.
Mm-hmm.
Add players to the team, not subtract. So then you can add. Give him an opportunity to add some pieces to the current roster without having to be creative. We talk about the creative word all the time.
Yeah.
I think we failed to mention the why, like the creative word is because of John Seidler.
I agree, but not fully. I do also think their system makes them be creative potentially. Because I don't know how much it's going to return. It'll return things, but will it return the blockbuster addition you want to make if you don't move DeVries? Is there enough there to get all your hopes and dreams accomplished, even with money?
If John Seidler told AJ, money's not a factor here, go out and add what you want,
then he would figure it out.
Do you still think they would be trying to trade Dylan Cease right now?
No.
Okay.
No way. Do you?
No, that's my point.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think AJ Preller's a fan of, I think AJ Preller's a big fan of Dylan Cease based on him going out and acquiring him in the manner in which he did. I don't think AJ Preller has cooled on Dylan Cease. I really don't. I mean, I think it's just a product of the circumstance. If I need to free up money and he hasn't had the greatest of years and he is going to give me a return, he's the guy that I got to move. But I don't think he's like highly motivated to just move Dylan Cease just because. I think there's got to be a reason to move Dylan Cease. All right, let's get back to this conversation in the 3:00 hour. I want to hear from Sean Lewis on the other side. If you missed our conversation with the Aztecs head coach, we'll share it with you coming up next. Fall camp getting underway today. And Sean Lewis sat down with us earlier in the week to discuss that. So you'll hear from Sean Lewis on the other side. Kevin Acee at 5:30. We'll hear from Mike Schilt as well once this Padres-Mets game goes final. And we are officially 24 hours out from the 2025 Major League Baseball trade deadline, the MLB trade deadline is coming in 24 hours. Hour two of John and Jim comes your way next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Payday. Mets and Padres, game 3 of their 3-game series. Padres lead the Mets right now 4-0 in the top of the 7th inning. Padres looking for the 3-game sweep and to win their 5th consecutive game. And looking at the trade deadline, as we are 24 hours away, trade market is heating up this morning. Pirates traded third baseman Brian Hayes to the Cincinnati Reds. And earlier this afternoon, the Giants traded right-hand pitcher Tyler Rogers to the Mets. Hardworking people need a hardworking candy bar packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel. Payday is definitely working hard for you. So grab one now to power you through the day. Payday Peanut Caramel Bar. Get to it.
Getting you all set for that drive home.
For anyone out there, like, they haven't made a move, something's going on, they're going to stand pat, nothing's going to happen. No, that's not how it works. There were 40-something combined trades last year between deadline day and the day before, and there were only 4 on this day. So it could happen today, could happen right now, or it's
right
more
now.
likely to occur tomorrow and or on Thursday.
Or right now.
Trust me.
Or now.
I said I would wear my clothing backwards for whatever reason if they don't make a trade. I guarantee they will make a trade, and I am overly confident multiple Padres trades will happen between now and the deadline.
Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2. We are inside of 24 hours. This is like New Year's Eve, except it's
the countdown is on.
Inside of 24 hours. The true deadline is 3 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, although you will hear of deals that occur after 3 because they're completed before 3, but they're not reported until after 3. But we're with you tomorrow, beginning at 2, leading up to the deadline, full reaction after the deadline. We're going to hear from Mike Schilt today once the Padres hopefully win this game. They lead 4-0 behind Yu Darvish. Kevin Acee will join us at 5:30. We will get back to the Padres. But today, fall camp open for San Diego State. Jim supposedly was going to be there. I didn't see him. Maybe you're on the other side of the field. There's a lot of people.
I was there.
A lot of people there.
I was there in spirit.
He was there in spirit. But fall camp is underway. Now, this conversation was from earlier in the week. We had Sean Lewis with us Monday, and we started the conversation about the Aztecs allowing their season ticket holders to attend fall camp practices the first couple of weeks of fall camp. So here's our conversation with Sean Lewis, beginning with the opportunity the season ticket holders have this year.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. It's awesome to connect, and obviously a great time of year here with ball getting started this week. But yeah, we mentioned earlier today at the press conference, I want to make sure that all of our current season ticket holders know that we're opening up practice for the first 2 weeks. So practice gets rolling on Wednesday and all the way through August 13th, leading up to Fan Fest on August 14th. Our practices that go from 9:30 into 11:30 in the morning will be open to current season ticket holders. So excited to open the doors, welcome them, as a way to say thanks for their support and being there with us last year as we got this thing rolling. And then obviously for those that are going to be with us and hopefully more come on board as well as season ticket holders in some capacity to join us and to pack the snap and get this thing rocking and rolling.
And I'm sure all season ticket holders, they're what they're thinking about right now is who's the starting quarterback? The obligatory, what's the timeline for your starting quarterback? Well, coach, what's the timeline for a starting quarterback for you?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have 2 great scrimmages in those first 2 weeks of camp, along with numerous other opportunities for the quarterbacks and for the offense and for the whole team to come together. So as soon as we can, figure out who's going to give us the most confidence, who's going to be most efficient moving the ball and putting it in the end zone, that guy who kind of grabs it by the reins and takes hold and gives the offense the confidence, day in and day out and shows it with their consistent play. We want to make that announcement and know for those individuals and most importantly for the team, who's going to be the guy leading us. But we got some great guys in the room. Jane Denegal and Bert Emanuel have done a great job since they've been here. And whoever ends up being the primary starter, both guys are going to have a significant role because they are both dynamic playmakers and they're going to help us win a lot of games this fall.
Sean Lewis, San Diego State second-year head coach, with us on the home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760, and John and Jim. By the way, Fan Fest, which includes a scrimmage, is a Thursday night at Snapdragon. That's Thursday, August 14th, 7 p.m. Free tickets are available right now at goaztecs.com. If you want to make it out to Fan Fest, a scrimmage, Thursday, August 14th, 2 weeks to the exact moment of when the Aztecs open their season against Stony Brook. That'll be Thursday, August 28th. Again, free tickets available at goaztecs.com. I was going to ask this earlier during your press conference, but For whatever reason, I didn't, because I knew I'd talk to you later in the day. But what is it about the fine line between getting a team ready for a season, but also keeping veteran players healthy? How do you balance that from like a coaching perspective? It is football, right? You have to play football
Correct.
to get good at football, but how do you make sure you're as healthy as you can be heading into a year?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously something that we work hand in hand with our strength and conditioning staff, and using all the information that is at our disposal, right? To get good at this game, you have to have physical practices. You need to work on the basic fundamentals and the skills of blocking and tackling, regardless of scheme. That's how the game is won. And you have to go through, the experience of camp, and going through everything that entails. Yet I think we are, smart enough in the game here now to know that more is not always better. Sometimes more is just more, and really having detailed, specific plans for where guys are in their journeys, right? Like where a guy like Chris Johnson, a guy like Eric Butler, or a guy like Ross, those guys are at a different point with the number of game reps that they have logged. And so there's different weight that really gets put on each individual drill. And there's certain things that those guys need to do versus there's other things that they have enough time on task that, we can allow them to go work on a specific nuanced skill, some of the Jedi tricks that where they're at in their training that, a younger guy isn't ready to drill or to train because they're still learning how to do the basics and the fundamentals. So it is a fine line to make sure that everyone is physically ready to play and that they're conditioned to play, but that you come out of camp as healthy and as fresh as possible, so you can go attack week one the right way and the whole season, that you set yourself up for success with all that comes.
So you put on social media 8 days ago, you're going dark for the season. How much better is your life now that you've decided to do that?
I tell you what, there's a lot more mental capacity that's used for other things, that you can just have better focus. We talk all the time about, the way that we define focus is really kind of the depth and the direction of where your time, energy, and effort is at. And if you get sucked into the algorithm, obviously your time and attention is getting sucked there when it can be used in other spots. And again, we've talked about before, just the opportunity that we have for this club and the decision that these players have made and the staff has made with how important this season is, because it's the next one, and how important it is for these guys to earn great opportunities and for us to restore pride in the program. Remove distractions. As Kobe said, we're going to edit our life here and go to work. And I'll see everyone on social media on the other side of a great run here.
Sean Lewis with us right now on John and Jim. I'm curious, Sean, because you played, and then there's always like the next, version. There's always a younger generation, so to speak. Are there more challenges on players to stay focused, or were there always challenges, whether we're playing football in 1980 or 2000 or 2025? Is it more challenging for young people to stay focused on the task at hand, or has that always been an issue regardless of generation?
I think there's always been temptation out there, regardless of generations, right? And that's why it's so critically important that you get people in the building with great character that know what their priorities are, and again, edit their life accordingly, right? But I mean, there's always been temptation. It'll always be out there. I told the guys last week as we wrapped summer conditioning, we gave them some good days for R&R, but it's that idle time is the devil's playground, right? So make good decisions with all the hard work that they've invested so that we can attack camp the right way. But I don't think that's specific to this generation or any others. Those temptations have always been out there, and we got great guys that make great choices in the building here.
Well, you're not on social media anymore, the Aztec football account, and you're doing this new series called The Climb. A couple days ago, they released the first episode. I'm sure you've seen it, obviously. What was the decision behind going behind the scenes at such a, big clip here with everything that you guys are doing, from the white shirts to the workouts to how you have to earn things? How do you feel so far about the inside look that the fans get to see now of your football club?
I think it was great, and I feel awesome about the production that's been put out, the product that has been put out. I think our sport is very unique to where very often, our supporters, our fans, the community, they don't get to see our guys without their helmets off and truly know and understand who these people are under the pads and how amazing young men they are, and then want to do a great job really telling the story, right? Each team every year and each program around the country has all these unbelievable stories, that's going on within the building. And again, there's all these unbelievable platforms that are out there to be able to share that story, to connect the community. So if there's someone, hey, like kind of on the fence, like, why should I support this team? What is it that makes them special? What are they about? They get to see the story. They get to hear the story, and I think there's a lot of messaging within that, that has resonated with our team, but I believe that will resonate with our community that, hey, like, let's get some tickets. Let's go support these guys. There's a character, there's a player, there's a coach that, really spoke to me and, draws them into being a part of this great climb that we are working on.
Sean Lewis with us right now on John and Jim. Sometimes like across sports, people get enamored with something that isn't necessarily the difference between winning and losing. Like we concern ourselves with like the top scorers in basketball or like the furthest home runs in baseball or sometimes skill in football. But you mentioned something today, like one of the determining factors for your team in general is just going to be physicality and toughness. Obviously, that's always starting up front on both sides of the line of scrimmage. How does that play out? Like, how do you make sure you have a group that can deal with the rigors of 12 consecutive football games, at least from a physicality and toughness mindset?
Yeah, they embrace it, right? They take on the challenge, they take on the opportunity to make that a part of their DNA, and they embrace it with pride. Because again, whether it's the game of football or it's life, right? Like, we're going to be faced with tough times, but those tough times don't last. Tough people do. So having a team that is resilient, having a team that is willing to go harder, longer than anyone on the field is a definite competitive advantage. And ultimately, when these guys leave here with great degrees and their great playing experience and all the things that we're able to provide here, right? Like, we still want them to be great young men that are able to weather the storm and handle hard better than they've ever been able to. And so, presenting those challenges, training them the right way here through training camp, and to your point, dominating the line of scrimmage, right, and winning that physical battle in the trenches, and having a tough squad that is able to withstand anything that comes our way this season will be paramount for our success.
Sean, we're excited to see this football team in action again. For season ticket holders, you can do that beginning Wednesday morning, the first practice of the 2025 season when it comes to fall camp, and we're a month out right now from that opener at Snapdragon against Stony Brook. And again, single game tickets, mini plans, season tickets are on sale right now at goaztecs.com. Sean, appreciate the time. We will see you Wednesday morning, and thanks for joining us as always.
Yeah, guys, thank you. Go Aztecs.
All right, and I did see Sean Lewis Wednesday morning. And I think Aztec fans, listen, if you're a season ticket holder, get out there to some of these practices. It's man, football is a well-oiled machine. I have no idea how they know what they're doing, Jim. There's like 200 people on the field. They're like playing football. It's really impressive.
It's a practice.
It's a practice. They're like blowing whistles, throwing the ball downfield. All right, so Yu Darvish goes 7 shutout innings, and the Padres lead 4-0 into the top of the 8th inning, trying to finish off a 3-game sweep of the Mets and a 5-game winning streak overall into an off day, by the way, tomorrow for the team, not an off day for AJ Preller. I don't think AJ's like, do you think his out of office is on tomorrow? Like email, sorry, fishing. Check back Friday.
I'm going playing basketball at the YMCA. Sorry, guys.
Mailbox full.
Oh, man. All right, we'll react to the Padres, the Mets. We're inside 24 hours. We're going to hear from Mike Schilt when this game goes final, which is probably in the next 20 or so minutes. We'll hear from Mike Schilt, and Kevin Acey is going to join us from Petco later on at 5:30. Don't go anywhere. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Padres 4 outs away from a sweep of the Mets as Yu Darvish goes 7 awfully impressive shutout innings today. They've turned it over to their 8-team relievers, including Jason Adam, and they're set up. Game's not over, but leading 4-0 in the 8th inning, and then it's all A.J. Prellers. Everyone else can have the rest of the day off. Machado can go fishing. Team can go kayaking. They can enjoy tomorrow. They can go to the beach together. They can do whatever they want over the next, 48 hours. They don't play again until Friday night. A.J. Preller, though, no out of office. He will be working from now until the buzzer sounds a day from now.
Yes, he is.
No sleep for AJ just tonight
no sleep.
Specifically?
No sleep.
No sleep.
No sleep.
Maybe 60 minutes.
It would be kind of funny and very ironic if the one day of the year that he gets the most sleep is the day before the trade deadline.
I think it's the day after the deadline, maybe.
But for him, it's like, oh, the day before the deadline, I sleep like a baby.
Right.
I'm like, I clock about 9 or 10 hours. That's fine.
I wonder, where is he holed up? Who is he talking to?
Oh, he's at the park right now.
But where in the park? What,
his office or his suite next to the press box?
I'm not in a suite right now. I gotta be. I'm working the phones. He's always working the phones.
Yes, John. I'm
working the phones right now. I'm not entertaining clients today. This isn't about marketing. Don't bring the marketing guys by. I got work to do.
I just want to know one day, after a trade deadline, AJ, how many calls did you make this week? The last 7 days. Pull it up on your phone or call AT&T or whatever. I want you to count how many phone calls you made, not calls you received, but you made in the last 7 days. Over or under? Let's do this real quick.
Calls
that AJ has made
or that he picked up, right?
No, just made himself. Not calls that he received, made. I'm gonna go take the over under right now at
8.5.
Okay. Yeah, 3.5. I'm gonna go with
100,
115.5. Over under 115.5 calls.
Do you know those, I don't know how much Dateline you and Aaron watch?
None.
But they'll show court cases where in this love triangle, this person texted the other person 18,000 times in the year 2019. If AJ Preller's phone was ever opened up for a criminal case, to be why did you call the Astros GM so much in 2020? In July of 2025, AJ Preller called the Astros general manager 199 times. That's what I would expect. I would expect obsessive usage of the phone. He's got to have that extra battery pack, right? Is he constantly just charging?
It's just plugged into a charger.
Just plugged in.
Yeah.
The phone is in the charger already.
Now over under, so 115.5 over 7 day period, that's averaging 17 calls that you made per day.
That's not very many.
I know. So I got to up that. 250, man. 250.
I mean, and who knows? He might be calling his mom too in there, or family or friends.
Yeah, 250. Yeah, this more like it. So 250 calls over the last 7 days that he has made. That's averaging about 35 or a little over 35 calls per day. That sounds more about right.
It probably is, man. And then you include the text and the back and forth between himself and other people in the front office.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's probably obsessive, but again, he's got everything he could ask for from a 2025 team perspective. I would say they're playing well. They're going to be 60-49. They're better positioned than they were a year ago, even though they completely took off in the second half last year. And now we wait. Does Dylan Cease actually get traded to the Houston Astros or elsewhere? Do they acquire the left fielder that we've talked about, or the catcher, or depth, or a reliever? Does Jim sneeze? The answer to that obviously is going to be yes.
What happens more, me sneezing or AJ Preller making a phone call?
Probably Preller.
Probably,
truthfully.
Yeah.
By the way, today for Darvish, in his 7 shutout innings, he threw not a lot of pitches. Not a lot at all. He threw today 76 pitches. In 7 innings, fewer than 11 pitches per inning today for Yu Darvish against the New York Mets, as the Padres again are 3 outs away from a series sweep heading into the deadline.
This was the I'm here, I'm back game for Yu Darvish.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Almost had to have it right now.
That's what I said.
You couldn't put it off another start.
Yeah, give him this start, and if he still struggles, then we got some problems. But his 4th start back.
5th. Did I?
5th start?
This is 5th.
All right. 5th start back. It's go time.
Mm-hmm.
We're in sprint mode here.
Absolutely.
It's either put up or shut up time, and you got to go out there and perform. You know, you've rehabbed for 3 months or however long. You can't keep being like, oh, I'm trying to still get into it. Like, no, dude, you gotta get going right now. And today was easily the best game of his season so far. And hopefully he can take that and build off of it and pitch more like this for the rest of the year.
Remember in April, we're like, he's out. But the general consensus was, well, you're going to need him when you need him. Like if you're going to have Darvish healthy in the back half of your year, more specifically September, October, then you can live with not having him now. But that was easy to say. It was easy to say, well, you don't need Darvish now. You just need him to look like you Darvish later. And that's another thing for that to actually happen. Now, it's only July. We don't know what he's going to look like in September or October. But now glimmers of hope, reasons for optimism. And Yu Darvish has been a very good postseason pitcher. I think often an underrated postseason pitcher because of what played out in the World Series against Houston. I think that's kind of the focal point of his postseason history. But if you look inside his postseason numbers, and this includes last year, he has been a very consistent postseason pitcher. They will count on him. If he is healthy heading into the postseason, you should feel positive, hopefully, about Yu Darvish out there for the Padres.
We have a trade
involving
breaking news, according to Ken Rosenthal. It's not a Padres trade.
Oh.
Phillies are close to acquiring Johan Duran from the Twins.
The guy that was hugging it out yesterday but wasn't traded.
Correct.
Oh, well, where then are we going commercial free?
Well,
no.
I'm just telling you that.
Johan Duran.
Johan Duran of the Twins. He's the Twins closer. This year, John, he's had a very good season. He has 16 saves. He has a 2.01 ERA. In 49 and a third innings pitch, he has 53 strikeouts, a 1.17 whip. He's 6-4 with a 2.3 WAR on the year. He is controllable through the 2027 season. He's a free agent. Sorry, he's a free agent after the 2028 season. My bad.
AJ, your move now. Phillies have added back end bullpen help. All right, on the other side, more on the deadline and the Padres, who are 3 outs away from a series sweep of the New York Mets. We'll hear from Mike Schilt when this game goes final. The Wrap at 4 p.m. We'll tell you about today's giveaway. And Kevin Acee will join us in 2 hours at 5:30. We're inside 24 hours until the trade deadline. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, so that is brought to you by Cal Fire, Padres and Mets. Game 3 of their 3-game series at Petco Park. Padres looking for the 3-game sweep and to win their 5th consecutive game. They now lead the Mets in the bottom of the 8th inning 5-0. The trade deadline is now less than 24 hours away. Trade just coming down, according to Ken Rosenthal, Johan Duran, closer for the Minnesota Twins, was just traded to the Philadelphia Phillies. Other trades happening earlier this afternoon. The Pirates traded third baseman Brian Hayes to the Cincinnati Reds, and the Giants traded reliever Tyler Rogers to the New York Mets. Help prevent wildfire. Mow before 10 a.m. Keep vehicle chains from dragging on the ground and never park on dry grass. Remember, one less spark means one less wildfire. Learn more at readyforwildfire.org.
All right, so waiting on AJ Preller's first and next move, not waiting on the Padres to show us something on the field. They have done that over the last week, on the verge of a 5th straight win for the first time since late April, early May. They were 12 games over 500 at one point this year. And with a win today, they'll pull to within 1 game of that. They'd be 11 games over 500. It's 5-0, as Jim just told you. The Mets have had 2 hits today, and they have not scored a run. And this was a Mets team that 2 days ago we said was the hottest team in baseball. Had won 7 straight, and baseball is a funny game. And the Padres have handled the Mets to this point, and now Robert Suarez in a non-save situation will try to close out this series sweep for the Padres, who get the Cardinals. And Nick Pivetta, by the way, is on the mound Friday if the Padres win this game, looking for a 6th straight win.
Yep, and we all know what happened last time Nick Pivetta was on the mound against the Cardinals.
Oh, yeah, we had that bulldog back and forth.
Started some things that kind of carried over into the weekend, and we saw what happened on Saturday night with Manny Machado getting hit multiple times, and John Jay barking, and Wilson Contreras getting hit again. So that will be interesting. But look, this team right now on the verge of sweeping the Mets, winning 5 in a row, leading up to the trade deadline, better than I could have hoped for them to be, looking at where they were at leading up to tomorrow, which is they are 11 games over 500 if they win this game, and they're 3 outs away. They'll be 60-49. I've been harping just be 8 games over 500 or 9 games over 500 at the deadline. You feel good. Well, they're better than that, and they're playing better, and they look better. And with all that being said, less than 24 hours to go. I think you stand pat with the players that you have, and you only add. Don't try to get cute here. Now, I think the reason why he's trying to get cute, or the reason why that he's being quote unquote creative, or looking to be creative, is because he knows either A, John Seidler has given him the directive that he has to be under a certain number, and B, which you could, it could be another reason why as well, is he feels, and he looks at his organization and he's like, I don't have enough pieces to go get what I want. So I have to go sell from my major league roster to get some more prospects to trade for players that I want back. But I don't believe that to be true. I believe the latter to be true, which is he's doing this potentially because he's under a directive to go under a certain number, and he's not allowed to add money to this payroll because John Seidler is not allowing that.
We know the answer to that in 23 and a half hours. Because we will actually have an answer. His moves will tell us what has played out behind the scenes in the days and weeks leading up to the deadline. If he doesn't trade Dylan Cease, what you just said there, maybe he does get the leash from John Seidler, and maybe he is able to add some amount of payroll. If he does trade Dylan Cease or Robert Suarez, there's no other way to paint that picture other than he needed to do it financially because that's what ownership asked him to do. You're not trading Dylan Cease or Robert Suarez just because. I don't buy that. I think you would trade Dylan Cease or Robert Suarez because you need to keep your salary around the threshold it's at currently, and you got to free up salary to then in turn add salary. But I think that story will be told based on his actions over the next 24 hours. Like, we don't know his hand right now. It'll be for all of us to see in 24 hours. You'll see his hand. It'll be on the table within the next 24 hours. And I agree with you. It's dependent on if Cease moves, John Seidler's part of that conversation. If Cease stays, John Seidler's part of that conversation, maybe in a more positive light.
Yeah, like, hey, keep the roster together. Go do what you feel like is best for this team. And if we have to add $5 to $10 million additionally to this roster, then let's do it.
Do it.
But the more, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't.
What about adding money? They add $2 million. They add a player that, makes $3 million, but is owed $1 million this year. They add another player like that. They just add a couple of $1 million. Would that require them moving a major leaguer to go add players that are making $2 or $3 million this year? Are they that strapped where even any addition requires movement off their major league roster? That's my question.
I don't know. Nobody knows that.
We will know, though. We will know.
We will.
Sooner rather than later. Padres, by the way, do you know the last time they swept the New York Mets, Jim?
Well, John, I'm sure it says on the television last time. When was it?
Just guess.
I have no idea.
Well, that's the point.
2021. I don't know.
No, you idiot. It was 2008.
Oh, okay.
So they haven't swept the Mets of all franchises. They haven't swept the Mets anywhere, anytime since 2008. They're an out away from doing that at Petco Park, and then let AJ cook. And it'll be really fascinating. And I'm excited to hear from Mike Schilt. And I would guess that the vibes right now in that clubhouse, they don't really have any strong desire to. You think the clubhouse wants to move Robert Suarez? I don't. Think the clubhouse wants to move Dylan Cease? I personally don't feel that way. Do they want to move Jake Cronenworth? No. I mean, who wants to move good players from good teams? So now they have swept the Mets. They've won 5 straight. And the trade deadline is upon us here in San Diego. Trade deadline season, Jim, officially.
Add to this team. Don't get cute. Don't subtract. Don't sell to then buy. Add to this team as it is currently constructed right now. Don't mess with the good thing. They have proven that the roster they have right now is good enough to be a postseason roster. Absolutely. Maybe even better than just a 6 seed in the playoffs. Add to it, man. Add to this team.
I thought you were going to say better than a postseason team. I'm like, oh, what will they be playing in October better than the postseason? But you're right. We keep saying
better than a 6 seed.
Yeah, we keep saying 6 seed, and they're 2 games behind the New York Mets, who have one of the best records in the National League. And they're only 2 games behind the Philadelphia Phillies. And here we go down the Lucy chasing the football, 3.5 games behind the LA Dodgers right now. So everything is still in front of the San Diego Padres, including the upcoming trade deadline. And I'm curious to hear from Mike Schilt. Mike Schilt's going to be singing the praises, man. I will give Schilt credit because when they lost their 4 straight in St. Louis, I listened to what he said postgame that day. I was curious to hear what he would say. He's like, I've never had more confidence in this team. I've never believed more in what we're going to accomplish. And he's every time they lose 4 or 5 in a row, he digs his heels in more. 2024 first half, 2025 as recently as a week ago. And you know what?
Second half Schilt.
It always works. It always works.
Second half Schilt.
There's never a collapse here in San Diego under Mike Schilt, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But he finds a way, even against like the adversity and against some headwinds, he has found a way. And Schilt deserves credit. So does this team for the way they're playing right now. And Yu Darvish, again, the story today is Yu Darvish.
100%.
That's the story.
Yeah. The question coming into today was about Yu Darvish, and could that be, something that AJ looks at is, all right, if you pitches well today, it will make me feel better about trading Dylan Cease.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't pitch well today, then I got to really rethink this whole Dylan Cease thing. Or is he looking like, okay, Yu Darvish pitched great today. Let's keep this thing intact. Let's see what we can really do. That's not tinker. But I do think that there is a strong likelihood that he's going to tinker.
Oh, he will absolutely tinker. And, I think he should. I think good teams want to get better. I don't think there's finished products in baseball. I really don't in this era. I think The margins are thin. I think the difference between winning a postseason series and losing a postseason series isn't all that much. I think there's a level of crapshoot to it. I just think you want to complete your roster. But I'm looking at an improving offense. Again, 5 runs for the Padres a month ago was a lot of runs. And they scored 5 runs today. And they've scored 7 or more runs in 6 of their last 13 games. And Manny Machado is in the midst of like one of his better years anywhere. He's putting together a complete season. And you look up and down this lineup, and it's better than it was. I don't know if it's going to continue, but it is inarguable that it's better than it was even just a week or two ago. Couple it with the bullpen, you couple it with Darvish. Padres scored 5 runs today, going 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. That to me is encouraging because they're scoring at a higher clip than they were just a couple of weeks ago.
Top of the lineup once again, producing. Fernando Tatis Jr. with a hit, Arise with 2 hits, Machado with 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Merrill had an RBI today. Bogarts went 1 for 4. Sheets had the 2-run homer. You're getting contributions from the guys that you are expecting to get contributions from. And if that happens, you just add another bat here or there, and it rounds out the roster really well. Because like we said, you don't need a savior when you have the players that you have already on this roster. They just need a little additional help.
And I would say this, because I'm thinking about it right now. Go get a home playoff series. I know maybe that's greedy. Go get a home playoff series. You're 34-18 at home, and you're 26-31 on the road. It matters. Go find a way to secure a home playoff series, or shoot, more than that, like winning a division. But at the very least, find a way to secure a home playoff series. The Padres have among the better records in baseball, 34-18. There are not a lot of years where the Padres have played better than that at home from a winning perspective. So 34-18 with today's win. We'll hear from Mike Schilt coming up. Do not go anywhere. Kevin Acee will join us at 5:30. Full reaction to a sweep of the New York Mets, the first for the Padres since 2008, and we're inside 24 hours now on the trade deadline. What is AJ Preller cooking up? Don't go anywhere. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, full reaction. Padres have won 5 straight games since early May. First time since early May. They're 11 games over 500. Sweeping the Mets at home, getting an off day Thursday, welcoming the selling off Cardinals on Friday, where Nick Pivetta will pitch for San Diego. So, like, seasons have ebbs and flows, highs and lows. This would be a high. I mean, 5 consecutive wins is a lot of consecutive wins and a chance to now take full advantage. St. Louis, Arizona, 2 teams that are likely to sell more over the next 24 hours, and the next 3 games coming up at home here at Petco Park this weekend as well.
Yeah, just a really good job by this Padres team, making sure that there is no doubt.
They left no doubt.
There is no doubt about what this team is going into the trade deadline. And what that team is, or what this team is right now, is a contending team. Absolutely. They're in the thick of it. There is no question in my mind, and I'm sure in a lot of fans' minds right now, that this team, once again, going into the stretch run of the year, heading into August, they're a contender.
Yeah, I mean, you are right. I still think A.J. Preller would have had similar visions, even if they played poorly in this series. Let's say they lost 2 of 3. It happens. It's baseball. They've lost other series. If they had lost 2 of 3 here, I don't think it changes the vision that A.J. Preller has for 2025, but you don't want to put any questioning in the mind of your ownership group or your general manager. You want to make a definitive statement. Everyone always says that. A.J. Preller told MLB Network Radio earlier this July, about 4 weeks ago now, the team will tell me the position that we're in. That's what all general managers are going to say. You want to take care of your own business. You don't want to rely on other teams to sell off or other teams to play poorly. The team did this definitively. And again, I mean, have they played perfect baseball over the last month or two? No. What's the record now? 11 over? They were 14-3. From that moment on, they're a 500 team. From the second their 14-3 start was over, they are exactly a 500 team. But I'm a big believer in trend lines. They're trending up. They've played better here. Final homestand of the first half, 6-4. 8-5 out of the All-Star break. 8-6 is 14. 4 + 5 is 9. I mean, they've just played better over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and they've taken some of that doubt, in my opinion, outside the minds of ownership and A.J. Preller potentially.
They're playing with the confidence that we saw this team play with at the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then offensively, they just went into a giant rut for 2.5 months.
Right.
And there was no way that this team was going to make another run until their offense decided that they were going to start producing again. And, you know, it's always frustrating if you're a fan sitting there saying, well, we just got to wait. Just got to wait. Because a lot of times the waiting happens and the season's over.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment has passed this team by. Happened in 2023. Everyone was just waiting and waiting and waiting, and it never happened. Never happened for them.
True.
I'm not saying that this is going to propel them into, amazing second half, but this is a great start. And it does feel after these last 5 wins here that they are definitely poised to potentially have a similar type of run, not a 43-19 run, but, playing really good baseball to the point where there is no doubt about them making the postseason. The only thing you now talk about is their chances in the postseason.
Yeah, like a month ago, if you would have told me St. Louis, Arizona, Boston, San Francisco coming up, I would have been like, oh, yeah, that's not easy. And now I see St. Louis, and again, they're going to be sellers. They're falling further back, and Arizona has already been a seller. Boston's been good, but then San Francisco has the worst record in baseball since they acquired Rafi Devers. So it's amazing how you look at a schedule and things do change. You mentioned it last night. It's when you play teams. It really does matter. If you were playing St. Louis and Arizona right before the deadline, maybe they look different. I made this point last night. Teams that sell off can be good in the second half of the year. There'll be a spoiler out there. There'll be a September run from someone that is playing with AAA guys and they just take off. There's no pressure in the world. They go 20-10. Some random team's going 20-10 in September. But when you're a seller and it's the day after the trade deadline, reality sets in that we're not a good team. We're not going to the postseason. My front office doesn't believe in us. And that's going to be St. Louis and Arizona. Now it's on the Padres to take advantage of that. But you're going to be facing teams that are selling off parts and don't believe they're good enough to get into the postseason. Those are the next two teams you're playing. Those are the series you can win if you're San Diego. You go 4-2 in those two series, and you're going. You're 9-2 over 11 games if that happens.
So in the National League, Milwaukee, the Dodgers, Philly, the Cubs, the Mets, and the Padres all hold postseason spots right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think with less than around 50 games to play, I would be surprised if that list changes at all.
Completely agree.
I think it will change as far as seedings go for sure. But I'll up it. I'll be very surprised if the teams I just mentioned, if all of them don't make the postseason.
Completely agree. I will be very surprised. Now, shocking, maybe that's strong, but I would be very surprised if any of those 6 missed out. Just the teams behind them are making their intentions clear, other than Cincinnati. Maybe Cincinnati decides, you know what? Let's throw our hat in the ring. Let's see if we can catch lightning in a bottle. But these other teams, Jim, I mean, it's very unlikely. Arizona, St. Louis, Miami. I mean, it's very unlikely. San Francisco, clearly. Very unlikely any of those teams make the postseason.
It's not going to happen for Arizona. They're 9 games back of a playoff spot right now.
That's a lot.
It's not going to happen for Miami. Miami's 7.5 back.
Okay.
The Giants season is officially over. They got swept by the Pirates today. They're under 500 now. They're 6 games back. It's over.
Okay.
St. Louis, you can really put a dent in their season this weekend by taking at least 2 or 3.
You bury them with 2 out of 3. How many games behind them?
They're
How many games
5 games behind the Padres.
Take 2 or 3. They're 6 back of you.
The Reds are 3.5 back. Do you honestly believe in the Cincinnati Reds?
That's the thing. I mean, it's possible. Of course it's possible, but you're dealing basically with a team that has a chance.
Unless the Mets collapse or the Cubs collapse or the Brewers collapse.
And even if they do, are
the
those
Phillies
teams
collapse? Like, I just don't see it.
They'd have to be passed by not San Diego, but by like Cincinnati, a team that's an additional 3.5 games behind them.
Yeah. So Cincinnati right now is 5.5 games behind the Mets.
That's a lot. Again, not insurmountable.
No. And the Mets right now hold the 5th wild card spot in the National League. I just think that the Brewers, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Cubs, the Mets, and the Padres, I would feel comfortable betting right now that all those teams make the postseason, and that will be the National League when postseason comes around in October.
Which is funny because when they expanded the postseason to 6 teams, they thought they were allowing all these markets to have kind of a shot to get in, which is true. There's more teams that are in today than 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. But you're right; it's becoming pretty well said in the National League, or so it feels right now. In this exact moment, with our feet on the ground at the end of July, it feels like the 6 teams in the National League that are heading to the postseason are currently in playoff positioning. All right, we're going to start the 3rd hour of the show by hearing from Mike Schild. He is speaking with the media right now. You will hear what he has to say about his team coming up in just a few minutes. And then coming up at 5:30, you won't want to miss it. Kevin Acee live from Petco Park with the latest on the Padres and what they're thinking with the trade deadline now 23 hours away. Padres sweep the Mets. Congratulations in order to Yu Darvish, the winningest Japanese-born pitcher ever across the Nippon Professional Baseball League and Major League Baseball. Nobody's ever won more games professionally out of Japan than Yu Darvish. His career is unmatched among Japanese-born pitchers.
Is that good?
He gets the win today. He goes 7 shutout innings. We're going to hear from Mike Schild on the other side. We're here until 6 p.m. The Padres have won 5 consecutive games. The trade deadline is looming. You'll hear from Mike Schild coming up next on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by the Jim Petrell real estate team. Padres complete the sweep today of the Mets with a 5-0 victory. They have now won 5 games in a row, and the trade deadline is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific. We are less than 24 hours away, so now we wait to see what A.J. Preller does. There's already been a couple trades in baseball today. Pirates, this morning, they traded for Brian Hayes from the Reds, Pirates traded Brian Hayes to the Reds, The Giants traded Tyler Rogers to the Mets, and Johan Duran, the closer for the Twins, was traded from the Twins to the Phillies. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Petrell is the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
Getting you all set for that drive home.
For anyone out there like, they haven't made a move, something's going on, they're going to stand pat, nothing's going to happen. No, that's not how it works. There were 40-something combined trades last year between deadline day and the day before, and there were only 4 on this day. So it could happen today, could happen right now, or it's more likely to occur tomorrow and or on Thursday.
Or right now.
Trust me.
Or now.
I said I would wear my clothing backwards for whatever reason if they don't make a trade. I guarantee they will make a trade, and I am overly confident multiple Padres trades will happen between now and the deadline.
Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 3 of John and Jim, also known as the 23-hour warning for A.J. Preller. That's how many hours he has to work with before the trade deadline does hit in 2025. That's 3 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. Kevin Acee will join us in 90 minutes at 5:30, and we're going to hear, Jim, from Mike Schilt momentarily. Padres behind Yu Darvish hold the Mets to 3 hits. They shut out New York. They sweep the series 5-0, and now some of this is in A.J. Preller's hands as the Padres team will enjoy tomorrow off, and A.J. Preller will work on whatever he's working on for the next 20-something hours.
So I put on social media this tweet about 20 minutes ago. I said, F it. Keep Cease, keep Suarez. Don't create additional problems for yourself. By dealing those players, don't be cheap John Seiler challenge. Let AJ add to this roster. And boy, do people disagree with me.
Yeah, which means they've disagreed with what I've said probably for a long time, because most people, I've said this even today, people like movement and people see Cease as a net negative, which isn't accurate. Even the analytics suggest he's not. He's a one-WAR player this year. He's not a net negative. But there's this belief that it's good riddance. I don't fully understand as to why. He hasn't replicated 2024. But there's no reason to think that he's not capable of pitching better over the final 2 months of the season. Plus, don't mess with a good thing. The thing is good. Maybe he's not the best part of the thing. But what is the compelling argument to be made to move Dylan Cease? Do you really think your baseball team is better without him, or are you in the business of saving $4.5 million? How is the team better without him? Well, John, they lose every time he's out there on the mound. I mean, he's giving you basically 5 or 6 innings, 2 or 3 runs. That's what the numbers suggest this year. He's not killing your team. He hasn't pitched as well as he pitched last year. Accurate. But is starting pitching not important to A, get to the postseason, and B, if you're in the postseason? So I need to see the grand plan if he's moved, because right now I'm not. I agree with you. I'm not in favor of moving Dylan Cease.
If A.J. Preller trades Dylan Cease and he brings back a quality starting pitcher to replace Dylan Cease in the rotation, then that's great. That's fine. But the thing is, like, you have to make multiple moves for that to then work out. And you also still have to add a bat. And still you're looking to add a reliever. And you're maybe looking at adding a catcher as well. Like, you're creating a lot of additional work for yourself if you trade Dylan Cease. Don't get me wrong. I have been very critical of Dylan Cease this year. At one point, I was like, screw it, trade him. And I a couple weeks ago, I even said, while you were gone, like, just put his name out there. See what you could get for him. Maybe you could get a haul, right? And then you get closer to the deadline and you see how they're playing right now. And you look at all the work AJ would need to do. And I'm not saying he can't do it, but what's the saying I tell you all the time? Work smarter, not harder.
Well, that's definitely your theory.
Well, not particularly all the time, but a lot of times it's, hey, work smarter, not harder. And I feel like if you trade Dylan Cease right now, you're only going down a path of working harder, not smarter, potentially. I'll have to see what happens. I'm not going to criticize a move that hasn't even been made yet. I'm just saying, wouldn't you want to just add to the current team you have now and go to John Seidler and be like, give me the resources. Let me add a few $1 million. Like, are you really going to be so, pinching pennies here by me potentially adding a player that cost $5 million for the remainder of the season?
Ask yourself this. Why do the Houston Astros, who have made as many deep postseason runs as anyone over the last decade, and other contending teams want Dylan Cease? Ask yourself that question.
Mm-hmm.
Why do other contending teams want Dylan Cease? And then tell me why Dylan Cease has to move on a contending San Diego Padres team. Let's hear from Mike Schilt. Where does this start, Brent? Because he spoke for 7 or 8 minutes. He's talking about Yu Darvish, obviously. This will start with Yu Darvish, who goes 7 shutout innings. Here was Mike Schilt postgame.
I thought he was pretty good in the Game 5 last year in the Division Series final. But, yeah, it was really good. I mean, today was fantastic, and congratulations. What a milestone, right? I mean, 204 combined wins between the Japanese big leagues and Major League Baseball. That's impressive, and it's been quite the journey for him, and a lot of respect for and admiration for you, and so we were celebrating him a little bit. And but to your initial question, he was terrific. Change of speeds, fastball where he wanted it, just an artist out there with his paintbrush. Helped a little bit with Crony making another web gem, but he was fantastic to get through the 7.
It seems like the progression for him has just continued in the right direction in terms of just the sharpness getting better and better, and also extending the innings and the efficiency, the whole thing going in the right directions.
Yeah, efficiency is a key word. The ability to be consistent with his pitches. When he does that, he's going to do exactly what today. I mean, he was through 7 and not a lot of stress and low pitch counts every inning. So it was tremendous and good timing. Really good timing. We've been going at it pretty hard with the bullpen, and Manny deserves a asterisk too with his homer yesterday that allows us to get Adam and Suarez in to close it out today. So good team baseball, good series.
The 2 outs continues to be something that your team does really good in terms of scoring, getting it done. Any attribute that you can attribute that to? Or?
Yeah. It's just, it goes under the umbrella that is a pretty big umbrella, but it's also something that I really appreciate about this team is, you don't take anything for granted. You give nothing away and look to take everything. And, we've been able to do that consistently, whether it's they score, we score, hot, tough game, end of a road trip, 2 outs, nobody on. Nah, the inning's not over. We still got work to do. And, it was in play today. Iglesias' effort down the line, created an opportunity for us. Sheets took advantage of the 2-run homer. Nice stroke there. Toddy continues to take good at-bats. Of course, Manny's taking great at-bats. Louis, looking like Louis for a long time now. And, Maldi did his part at the end. Offensively, did a great job behind the plate as well. So, but yeah, ultimately, Scan, it's about, never give anything away in competition.
You've talked about how big it was just to get Yu Darvish back in the rotation. But for him to take the big step he did today and look like you, how big could that be?
Huge. Yeah, it's very big. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a pillar of this organization, has been for a while, and like I said, just made history today. So he's clearly a presence, and he's a presence, and he's a clear talent, and it was on display today. And guy that can go out and grab innings for us as a starter is it's worth his weight in Padre gold.
Diaz with the heroics the last couple of days, but also like them being in that spot, Maldonado, Diaz, what they've done lately to get the lineup turned over. How big has that been?
It's been huge. It's been nice. To me, it's a little bit of an added bonus because they've done such a nice job behind the plate. Maldi and Diaz have been tremendous, shepherding and working with our pitchers. But their ability to contribute offensively clearly is an asset to the club.
I know you obviously treat them all the same, but that's team leading its division over there. What does this week's series kind of say about your capabilities?
It speaks to our capability. That's a good team. Everybody knows that, and, it was a good series. We played just really clean baseball, but it's really, demonstrates what we're capable of. And that's pretty darn good special stuff.
Expect over the next 24 hours? There's been some action starting to happen around the league. What is your kind of expectation for what?
I have faith in AJ, and AJ I trust. So, I don't, the team we have, I love, and, AJ's going to, do what he does to give us whatever he thinks is the best shot moving forward. And I've got complete confidence in him, however it turns out. But, as far as expectations go, I love the 26 we have right now.
Hi. Today's 19 inning 5 runs lead, and still Suarez Robert is pitching. So it's of course tomorrow is off, but it's very important. Use first swing. It's for you and for team, right?
Yeah, it's for a team. Yeah, that's right. We had Adam in there, and Suarez is honestly one of our most rested arms in the last month and a half or so. And, off day tomorrow allows him an opportunity to go, close that thing out for Darvish.
And the performance today, it looks like, to me, the best in the National League by far. And I'm wondering if you feel like you ever this year had to work them harder than you want, but you still always managed, it seemed, pretty good on the health front. And looks like you're sitting pretty good there right now, despite some stretches where you did have to work.
We work them appropriately. We're, very mindful about the holistic approach we take and the communication we have with our relievers. And, you have a good team. Your up guys are going to pitch. It's just the fact of the matter. And so good news is we have depth in our bullpen. We use it. We've also spread it around. And in this last stretch of 13 games, if you really look at the distribution of innings, which I'm sure you may look at, but you can feel pretty good about looking at, Marnaccio getting his work when he was here, Hart getting his work when he was here. Peralta's taking the ball quite a bit. Morgan was, 6 out of 8 almost. And so, Yuki got in there last night. All those guys have pitched almost equally. So I feel like we're passing the ball around pretty judiciously. Thank you. I did.
To be so good in that area? It seems like the bullpen is just phenomenal.
AJ Preller. AJ's, I wouldn't trade him, pun intended, for any general manager in baseball. He's really brilliant. The thing about it is it's an organizational effort. The scouting and the professional scouting and the amateur scouting and the international scouting is, in my opinion, elite and best in business. And when you have that, it allows you to go and be creative. And AJ's a lot of things, and creative's one of them, and competitive.
All right, so all that from Mike Schild, where the deadline was a huge topic, and to no one's surprise, the Athletic reporting, Jen McCaffrey, who covers the Red Sox, that AJ Preller is still seeking Jarren Duran. Consider this: if the Red Sox traded Jarren Duran, it would put them in a similar spot to what the Padres are trying to do. The Red Sox are a contending team as well. Would they move a contributor for a contending team? She writes, by the way, if the Padres included Leo DeVries, the Red Sox would consider it. So a Cease DeVries type deal may make Boston move the player. She also writes that the Dodgers may be in on Duran just to drive the asking price.
Of course they are.
To San Diego. And of course, none of this is known, but we'll play out.
Bro, calm down.
Just stay the course, man.
It's okay, dude.
You guys have won like 100 games in a row. You're 60-49. You don't need to sell everything right now for Jarren Duran.
Like, go add like Ramon Laureano and a reliever or two.
Right. Or what about Anthony Bender of the Marlins?
Go get Ryan O'Hearn and Anthony Bender and maybe Luis Robert Jr., but like, calm down.
Yeah, the DeVries thing that's where things get tricky. And that's for our listeners right now. 877-767-4760. Are you that all in? Are you okay with moving your top prospect? We've been told maybe a generational one in the Padres organization for a controllable outfielder in Boston Red Sox, Jarren Duran. 877-767-4760 or text us 70470. Start it with the word team.
And this is coming out from Houston moments ago. Ari Alexander reporting, covers the Astros. Sources confirm the Astros are interested in Dylan Cease, with outfielder Jacob Melton as a name to watch in trade talks with San Diego.
Jacob Melton. Oh, let me tell you something. We're going to tell you a lot about Jacob Melton.
Really?
So we've been watching MILB.TV.
Oh, yes, we have.
Over the last week. And I'll tell you what, this kid from Medford, Oregon, he's been swinging it well recently. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. All right, the latest, things are heating up. Padres sweep the Mets. We'll react to all of it on the other side. 877-767-4760. Oh, by the way, Kevin Acey will join us at 5:30. This is John and Jim. All right, hey guys, it is John and Jim again for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. And guess what? Now open, the hotel and spa at Jamul Casino Resort. The next level of luxury has arrived. Treat yourself to a stunning new stay, rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, and all the thrills of Jamul Casino Resort, now all in one unforgettable destination.
And join them Thursday, August 7th, 7 p.m. to midnight for Thursday drawings with a guaranteed $30,000 in cash prizes. Earn entries daily for your chance to win. Plus, stay for the excitement of Latin night afterwards.
Also, congratulations to Jamul Casino Resort, named Best of San Diego by the UT in 2025. Again, make sure to get there. The all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. All right, John and Jim reporting from The Athletic about Jarren Duran. We'll get to that in a moment. AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. This is the classic from Boston's perspective. They're like, we don't want to move them. We don't want to move them. We may listen if you include Leo DeVries. And then he calls and says, you can have DeVries. And they're like, yep, deal's done. Like, this is like the lore. And then if you actually throw that chip in, the deal probably would get done.
But I don't think AJ Preller is that type of general manager where he gets baited into
but
these types of trades.
Yeah, but when you have blinders on,
I know.
If you have an affinity for a player, Dennis Lin has used the word enamored with Jaren Durant. He's not a rental. He's not a 1-year guy, a 2-year guy, a 3-year guy. He's a 4-year guy. You have him this year and each of the next 3 years. That's 2026, 2027. 2028. I'm sure in Preller's mind, that's compelling to consider something like that. But Leo DeVries, we've been sold on Leo DeVries and Ethan Salas since the day they were acquired by the organization. You can't part ways with both of those players. I'm all about win now. We love win now. But you have to have you have to put your foot down somewhere. I mean, Leo DeVries is probably the player you have to put your foot down on, is he not? There's got to be that one guy. He might enter 2026. Didn't Kyler McDaniel say this? Or Keith Law, he may enter 2026 as the number one prospect in the sport.
He is the predecessor to Xander Bogaerts at shortstop. He is a player that has like the it quality, the it factor, star potential with Leo DeVries.
And he's also a prospect.
Correct. All prospects are suspect until proven otherwise. I understand that.
Durant's done it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. Like, chill, dude. Like, calm
let's just take a deep breath
down. And the one thing that scares me, and I keep going back to this, is that Jerry DiPoto quote from back in 2020 when AJ was just so enamored with Austin Nola. And he just told Jerry DiPoto flat out, I don't care, I'll overpay for him. And he clearly overpaid because Andres Munoz and
it was a good return.
Was it Matt Brash? No, who was it? It was the reliever. He's traded 2 relievers.
Yeah, well, Munoz is one of them.
Munoz is one of them. And I think, I feel like, look it up.
And by the way, the Austin Nola return is nothing compared to what the Jaren Duran return would be.
Nothing. Now you traded away like an all-star closer and a really good reliever.
Oh, they traded Taylor Trammell.
Taylor Trammell is, I think, with the Dodgers.
But he was a big prospect in that deal, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he overpaid. Just like calm down. All right, take a step back real quick. Get off your phone for like 5 seconds and really think about this. Does this team need Jaren Duran right now for what you'd have to pay for him?
I mean, the interesting thing with Jaren Duran is he's putting together a month and he's putting together a year all of a sudden where you look up, you're like, wow, over 3 WAR. Wow, 780 OPS, the triples and the doubles and the home runs. It's not last year as of yet for Jaren Duran, but man, here's a 28-year-old that has emerged as one of the better outfielders. I mean, imagine an outfield with Duran, Merrill, and Tatis. I'm selling you on the other side. If you could just snap your fingers, Jaren Duran, Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis Jr. in their 20s, together for years, all together. A kumbaya moment for the organization. Now, the other side of that is Xander Bogaerts isn't going to be your shortstop for forever, and you need some cost control. Isn't Bogaerts your cost control at short? Durant's not cost control, by the way. Arbitration eligible, salary goes up next year, and the year after, and the year after that. That is an interesting one. Me personally, I'm not moving Leo DeVries. Me personally, I don't want to move Dylan Cease. So, like, I'm a little bit like the Debbie Downer. I'm kind of pouring the milk, like the cold milk on all this. You're 60 and 49.
Is it cold water?
Whatever. Cold something. You're 60 and 49. What is the reasoning behind massive overhaul? It's a massive overhaul if you trade Dylan Cease, if you trade Leo DeVries and you bring in Jaren Duran. Don't be convinced otherwise. I'm not saying it can't work. It absolutely can. But that is that's not tinkering, tweaking, creative. That's like changing a lot.
Yeah, that is a seismic shift in your organization.
Organization, certainly.
trading your number one prospect, which could turn into the number one prospect in all of baseball next year, for Jarren Duran. And then also you trade away Dylan Cease as well. Oof.
And that probably wouldn't be their only move. That's not your one move. You don't do that and then be like, we're good. I'll see you tomorrow. Like that's probably the first of like 4 moves if that were in fact the move. But it is being reported. This isn't us theorizing on it. The report from The Athletic is the Padres continue to call on Duran inside of 24 hours out. And the Red Sox continue to say thanks, but no thanks. But to your point, Preller is documented for trying to go above and beyond at times to acquire players that he really likes.
What AJ did last year at the deadline was not flashy by any means, right?
No, Jason Adams not flashy. That wasn't like a national name.
I remember sitting here when they traded for the relievers and we're like, those are good pieces. It turned out to be great pieces. It wasn't flashy by any means, but it was just solid moves. You go out and get some of the top relievers on the market, a starting pitcher from Pittsburgh, Martin Perez, and then Brian Hoeing as well, along with Tanner Scott from Miami. Wasn't flashy at all, but it was exactly what they needed, and it helped out the team to 93 wins. And if they get past the Dodgers, sky's the limit, right? This would be the flashy, like, I got to go big type of move that I don't know if it would work out on the other side. Obviously, who knows if it would work out or not, but I don't know, man. On first glance, like when you first think, all right, this trade goes down, Dylan Cease, Leo DeVries, throwing another prospect for Jarren Duran. On first glance, without like diving deep into it, knowing what's on the other side, does that truly fit for this team right now?
I say no, and I also say no to this Jacob Melton top Astros prospect for Dylan Cease. Because I'm looking at the numbers and no, like I need a overly compelling argument to move DeVries. I need an overly compelling argument to move Dylan Cease, especially if I'm acquiring a 24-year-old outfield prospect. Like, make a move that makes me better, okay, without mortgaging my entire future. Make a move that makes me better without mortgaging my entire future. That's the job at hand for AJ Preller.
And there's no Juan Soto player out there to do that for. Jarren Duran is not, in my mind, a Juan Soto type of player where you do give up your number 1, your number 2, your number 3, your number 4, and your number 5th prospect in an organization for.
But even then, I don't want to mortgage my entire future. And I don't know if they would be doing that. But trading Leo DeVries, you could certainly make the argument that they are mortgaging some of their future,
for sure,
if not a lot of their future. All right, we're going to react to this. Houston calling on Cease. Padres calling on Jarren Duran and the Red Sox. We want to hear from you. 877-767-4760. We've got a giveaway for you. We'll tell you about that coming up this hour as well. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, will join us tonight at 5:30 with the latest. This is John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by Allstate. Padres just finished off the sweep of the Mets today with a 5-0 victory. They have an off day tomorrow before they start a 3-game series with the Cardinals over the weekend. They have won 5 in a row, and the trade market is heating up. A couple trades to report today. Pirates traded third baseman Brian Hayes to the Reds. Giants traded Tyler Rogers to the Mets. Twins traded Joan Duran to the Phillies. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
All right, I want to go to the phones. Kevin Acey is going to join us at 5:30 with more reaction to a Padres 5-game winning streak and into what the Padres may be thinking inside of 24 hours until the trade deadline. Reporting on Dylan Cease is out there. Reporting on Jarren Duran is out there as well. Let's start with Matt on line 1. If you want to weigh in on the Padres, their play, and the Padres at the deadline, 877-767-4760. How creative do you want AJ Preller to get? Matt is on with us right now. Matt, thanks for calling in to John and Jim.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey, man.
Yeah, the biggest thing is they're going to have to walk a little bit of a tightrope. They're going to have to get rid of somebody. They're going to have to subtract to, have addition. I think Suarez and Cronenworth are the two pieces that you could move to teams that, you could shed some salary and you're dealing from abundance in those areas. And then you got to go find teams that are looking to off-sell, like the Orioles with Ramon Laureano. I guess the Reds are still buying, so you probably can't get a right-handed bat like Austin Hayes. Like, they need right-handed, slight power that could play the outfield. If you ditch Cronenworth, Arise could go to second. Sheets goes back to first. I don't see them spending the money on Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna's just a right-handed DH. They need some position flexibility. They need like $2 to $4 million guys to fill those spots. And the only way you're probably doing that is if you can move one of those pieces. And the biggest one probably, unfortunately, is dealing from abundance with Suarez.
Matt, appreciate the call. Is Matt AJ Preller? He knows more about this team than I
understand where Matt's coming from, and that's the thinking of how the Padres have to operate at the deadline. But our points today is, why do they have to operate like that? Why can't AJ Preller, or not AJ Preller, but why can't John Seiler just, I don't know, not be cheap? And
not cheap. That's the thing.
And give AJ Preller the assurance that he can go out and he can add pieces to this roster. I'm not going to be worried about money. I'm not going to tell you what to get below a certain number. Go add to the roster as it's currently constructed right now.
I mean, they're over the second threshold. They're ninth in payroll. So to your point, I think it further goes along the path of, they haven't been cheap to this point. Now, they have to get credit this offseason. They didn't spend a lot. You're right.
Yeah,
I do. But it's like, you've come this far. Don't come this far just to come this far. Put in the additional $1 million or $2 million, and the players that match this reference, for example, like Laureano. We talked about Ryan O'Hearn yesterday. Mike Tauchman came up yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
These aren't guys making a lot of money.
No.
We went through the salaries yesterday, and I don't have them in front of me, but guys on $2 and $3 million commitments for a year, you're getting them for 1/3 of 1 year. You're getting them for $1 million or less in some instances. There's no way you have to trade off major league pieces like Cronenworth and Cease to go acquire players that are owed $1 million this year. No way.
Yeah, if you went out and you didn't trade anybody on your current roster and you added a player like Mike Tauchman or Ramon Laureano or Ryan O'Hearn, the players that we've mentioned, that was mentioned by Mike Farron yesterday. If you had 2 of those 3 players, wouldn't you want that instead of being like, we have to trade Cease and do this and that? Like, when
just go add them and keep Cease.
Yeah, they're 11 games over 500. They just won 5 in a row. I know Dylan Cease. Don't get me wrong. I know he's having a bad year. We've talked about it. I've been very critical of Dylan Cease this year. But if you trade Dylan Cease, who's taking that spot?
And they may have a plan for it. They may backfill it. Mm-hmm. I would just say, as opposed to backfill it, just keep Cease and add a starting pitcher. If you want to add a starting pitcher. Let's go back to the phones. Eric on line 2. If you guys want to weigh in on the deadline, what Preller should do, as the Padres have won 5 straight, 877-767-4760. Eric, you're on with John and Jim.
Hey guys, thanks. Enjoyed listening.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so I'd like to start with the series win by the Padres.
Yeah.
If you ask me, recency bias is real. I think it's the biggest series win of the season. You got to go all the way back to the first, when they played Atlanta in 4 games, and then to the trades. With Dylan Cease, yeah, we can replace him with the starting pitcher, and the one I have in mind is Michael King. Right, he's coming off of the 60-day, I think it is. We can replace him with Michael King if we want to replace Cease. And if we end up trading him, I'd like to see the Padres go after a switch hitter. I don't have any names out there, but I think switch hitting and speed comes into play in the postseason in a short series.
Appreciate you, Eric. I would say also what Matt mentioned, which was go out a right-handed bat. Remember, Duran is not going to check that box.
No.
Not that it's not bad. If you add a better hitter, I'm all for it. But again, if you're checking the box of a right-handed hitter, that's not what he's going to do, obviously, for this lineup as a lefty.
Yeah, AJ doesn't need to always go big. And I feel like right now he feels like he needs to go big.
I think it's well said. Yeah. It does feel like there's times where it's like, you don't have to be uber aggressive. Like you can just trust in what you build. This is AJ Preller's vision that's played out in front of us in 2024 and 2025. He built the last 2 teams without the Juan Soto trade. I mean, he used the Juan Soto trade to build this, but I'm saying his vision the last 2 years didn't include Juan Soto on field for the Padres. And oftentimes, like Michael King was under the radar. When you traded away Juan Soto, you acquired a player like Michael King. You spun off a prospect in that deal for Dylan Cease. What you've done the last 2 years has worked. Now you don't have to go change everything again in pursuit. I mean, is Jarren Duran going to be the difference between the Padres winning a World Series or not? At the expense of Leo DeVries and Dylan Cease?
No one knows that for certain.
Right. And exactly.
But you know what it is? A massive risk.
Right.
It's a massive risk to do that. And I think trading Dylan Cease, you can write, do the positive and negatives of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of positives, but I also think there's a lot of negatives. And I just think looking at it and coming to a conclusion on what they should do. And I also have to factor in how they're playing as well. And factoring that in, I think is a big part of the equation here. If they weren't playing well leading up to the deadline, I think we've talked about maybe shake things up a little bit.
I agree. Yeah, I would agree.
But they're playing really good baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And they are firmly in a postseason spot with the opportunity and potential to, gain ground on the Mets or the Cubs or the Phillies or whoever's in the wild card race, right? And have their place firmly cemented in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really want to shake this thing up right now and make some drastic moves? Or do you want to add on the edges, replace the Trent Brooks of the world, the Tyler Wades of the world, and add another really good bullpen arm to already add to your amazing bullpen that you have, and maybe a starting pitcher, or you get another bat. So you get 2 bats and a reliever. Would you want to do that to the current team you have now? Or do you want to shake things up really? Trade Dylan Cease, trade Leo DeVries, trade other prospects in the organization that I'm sure are being discussed right now with other teams to really shake this thing up here at the deadline when you are playing some damn good baseball. You're 11 games over 500. And at this point in the season, looking at the state of the National League wildcard race, there would need to be a lot to happen for you not to make it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're already in contention in the National League. You have to ask yourself, is your missing piece for the deep postseason run the piece you're acquiring at the expense of your future in Leo DeVries and your now in Dylan Cease?
Manny McNuggets in our chat. Go check Fangraphs right now.
Check Fangraphs
because you're big on this. Check Fangraphs for their percentage odds to make the postseason right now.
Oh, I am big on it. I mean, it's got to be. I would guess it's between. I'm not going to look yet because I haven't seen the chat. I'm going to guess you're now pushing 70%. If you're the Padres, I'll check.
Because like 2 days ago, it was like 50.
It was, and a week before that, when they lost 4 straight, it was in probably the 30s, the high 30s. But things happen when Giants
lose.
There's only so many games remaining. There's only so many games remaining. So I would guess it would be, I'm going to say 70%, and it's 71.1. So well more likely than not. Now, you know what I always say. Would I get on a plane that has a 71.1% chance of landing?
Right.
No. But would I ride with a team that's got a 71.1% chance of getting to the postseason? Hell yeah. Because it's well more likely than not that they're going to be going to the postseason. And you're right. As other teams fall off, that number only goes up. And as days come off the calendar, that number can only, hopefully, for the Padres go up. All right, we'll react to it. Kevin Acee will join us at 5:30. We're going to give away on the other side. We're just going to give it away. We're not going to do the wrap. But we will give away on the other side Blues Traveler tickets with Gin Blossoms. This is Saturday, August 16th at Petco Park, actually Gallagher Square, but at Petco. Blues Traveler and Gin Blossoms will let you know when to call for that. That'll be at some point in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Kevin Acee, your Padres Insider at 5:30. Padres have won 5 straight. The trade deadline is coming in 22 hours. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Trade deadline's coming. Padres have won 5 straight. Should the Padres trade Dylan Cease, would you consider moving top prospect Leo DeVries to trade for Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran? 877-767-4760. In the next 10 minutes, we're giving away tickets to see Blues Traveler at Gallagher Square, Petco Park. Be listening for that. And Kevin Acee will join us, Jim, coming up at 5:30. Did you see what Kevin Acee wrote today in his newsletter?
I did not. What was it?
He wrote that, as the case has been all along, they continue to seek an impact bat via what will likely be more than one move, because to get a player that truly has a chance to make them better, the word is they need to clear salary space. The most obvious way to do it is by unloading starting pitcher Dylan Cease.
Yeah, so when that is said there, that they need to clear salary space,
I did say that.
I go directly to John Seidler.
The most obvious way to do it is to unload starting pitcher Dylan Cease. Yeah, because the word is that they need to clear some salary space. The word is.
And why would they need to clear salary space?
Right, because there's like a directive, like they have to be at 260 or 261 or
100%.
262, whatever the number is.
Yeah. If you weren't worried about money, you don't need to clear salary space.
Right.
But there is a clear directive. We don't know what that number exactly is. My guess it's 261.
Mm-hmm.
But that right there, and we'll ask Kevin at 5:30, to me clearly states John Seidler and this organization has let it be known to AJ, here's the number we need to be at by the end of the year.
But I'm like placing one more call, if I'm AJ, to John, like, hey, did you watch? Were you at the ballpark this week?
Hey man, I hear you at the ballpark all the time, right?
Were you watching? I mean, we've won 5 straight. Have you looked at the NL standings? No team has 4 wins more than us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we're kind of right there. So are you sure? Like, I know you told me 260, but are you sure it's not 265? Because the difference is Dylan Cease and/or Robert Suarez. So, like, you sure? Because at 260, I got to do this, but at 265, I don't.
Yeah, and the third threshold
is way up there.
Is 281.
They're not going over that, nor should they.
No, and I would never think that they were going to get close to the 281 mark. But if this team misses out on a chance to win a World Series, or they don't win a World Series because they had a directive to be under a certain number and they had to switch things up and they had to make some drastic moves, is anybody going to be okay with that?
No, and it's hard to boil it down to that. Like I said this last night in the wrap-up show, I mean, did the Padres lose to the Dodgers last year because of money?
No, they didn't.
They really didn't. But you're right. You don't want to lose because of money. You don't want to do something that you wouldn't do if it weren't for money. But last year, money wasn't part of the equation, but maybe it will be. You're right. In 2025. Let's go back to the phones if you want to weigh in. 877-767-4760. And Dave is back with us on John and Jim.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to ask Kevin a question, and I'll put that last. I would not touch anybody from Boston. Ask Xander Bogaerts if Petco Park and Fenway Park are the same for hitting. They aren't. And that's crazy at this point in time, in this time of year. So I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. As it relates to Dylan Cease, well, you know what? If you create a big hole there, you got to fill the hole somehow. And I don't know how in the world they would do that if you're really looking at the money problem. You've got a team that is 11 games over 500. If I was bold enough to be the GM at this point in time, my core players are my core players. These are the ones who brought me to the dance. These are the ones that I'm going to go home after the dance with. You basically fill in the bench areas that are weak, and we know what they are, and you get the best you can at that point, hoping that whoever comes in here can hit the ground running. We'll leave it at that. And the question for Kevin, now we talked about Eric Hosmer coming off the books and a whole lot of other people coming off the books at the end of the year. That's a whole lot of dead money that's available that should be able to be spent now, I would think, if the end of the year deadline is when you have to have your numbers in alignment. So when you factor in those pluses and minuses, to me, it presents a much different picture of what the real money picture is like when you factor in all of the money that is really going to come off the books really soon, wouldn't you think?
Dave, we appreciate you. Here's what I would say to that. Let's be clear on this. Money coming off the books is 2026 money.
Yep.
Their number at the end of 2025 includes Hosmer, includes King, includes Cease. These are 2025 salaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's money coming off for 2026, but their CBT numbers, that's now. They're not getting saved by that in 2025. Their taxes they're paying is on 2025.
Yep.
So 2026 is another conversation, but their money in 2025 is real. It's this 261, 262 number. And we don't know what it needs to be, but I feel like we'll get a better feeling for it after the deadline based on what they do.
When's the last time a team that was a true contender, that if you asked around baseball, hey, do you think the Padres can win the World Series this year?
Mm-hmm.
You get a couple yeses probably.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more than a couple yeses.
Right.
When's the last team like that went into a deadline and they were sellers and buyers?
I think there are probably examples. I'll give you a recent one, and it wasn't a deadline move, but moving Devers.
Well, I know
it
was
different. It was a different reason.
It was a different
They didn't see
situation.
eye to eye.
It wasn't about money because they could have kept Devers.
They have the money.
Yeah, they have the money. They're fine. It was about the relationship between them and Devers.
Yeah, it was fractured.
And they wanted to get something for him. And they're like, we can't do this anymore. We need to remove this guy from our team.
And short term, it's proved maybe like the right decision.
And also, I'm looking at Boston now, and I'm on Boston's side here. And if I'm a Boston fan,
You're selling
I'm like,
too.
I'm like, wait, why are you trading
Boston's
Durant?
not doing it. It's one thing to convince your fan base we're better off without Rafi Devers. It's come true. It's another thing to say we're better without another one of our stalwarts. Don't you think? It's like at some point you can't like pull a fast one on your fan base. And I'd be very surprised if they did actually. I don't think they have any interest to move Jarren Duran. I think their only interest in moving Jarren Duran is if AJ Preller makes them like the Godfather offer. Like the offer that cannot be refused is the offer that will be considered. But otherwise, it doesn't sound like Boston wants to move the player. That's what the Athletic says. Like they don't want to listen, but he keeps calling AJ.
But if there's
late,
and if there's an offer out there that the Red Sox couldn't refuse,
then
they're like, okay, sure, we'll do it. But they're not actively looking to trade Duran. AJ's just a psychopath right now, and he's enamored with this guy, and he is calling every 10 minutes to see if the Red Sox are going to budge. And it doesn't seem like the Red Sox are going to budge unless they get a combination of Leo DeVries, Cease, and others.
I mean, who even knows what that deal looks like? Because everyone's now is like, well, it might include DeVries and Cease, and that's probably not even the entire package. So, like, they're gonna make you really hurt to acquire Jarren Duran, would be my guess, based on the reporting.
Maybe AJ's doing all this Duran stuff to have people pay attention over here while he goes over here and he does something else.
Or maybe it's the other way. He's driving the price tag up for the Dodgers as opposed to the Dodgers driving the price tag up for the Padres. I want to hear from Fernando Tatis Jr. He has spoken with the media, and you will hear from Fernando Tatis Jr. coming up, and Kevin Acee will join us at 5:30. But call right now if you want a pair of free tickets to see Blues Traveler with Gin Blossoms and the Spin Doctors at Gallagher Square, Petco Park, Saturday, August 16th. That's coming up. Caller 3, you are going. 2 free tickets to see Blues Traveler at Petco Park, 877-767-4760. Call right now, 877-767-4760. We're going to hear from Fernando Tatis Jr. and Kevin Acee at 5:30. This is John and Jim. All right, hey guys, if you're maxed out on credit cards or struggling with high interest debt, you could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey guys, it is Schaefer, and get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. There are no appraisals or waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto, it's truly amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got over $300,000 approved under 24 hours, paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. Just a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pulls up front. Listen, your home equity, it's yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Call now to start the conversation. 619-207-4336, loanpronto.com. 619-207-4336. Get debt relief now at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This update is brought to you by Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Padres have won 5 games in a row as they finished off the sweep of the Mets today with a 5-0 victory. They have the off day tomorrow. Tomorrow is the trade deadline. They'll start a 3-game series against the Cardinals on Friday. Speaking of trade deadlines, here's some trades from today. Pirates, they traded Brian Hayes to the Cincinnati Reds. Giants traded Tyler Rogers to the Mets, and the Twins traded their closer, Johan Duran, to the Phillies. Celebration of local flavors, spirited sips, and racetrack vibes come to Del Mar every Sunday in the Plaza de Mexico. It's Savory Sundays, where a different restaurant each week is highlighted. Simple the cuisine, enjoy live music, and $5 Kona beers at Savory Sundays at Del Mar.
Getting you all set for that drive home.
For anyone out there like, they haven't made a move, something's going on, they're going to stand pat, nothing's going to happen. No, that's not how it works. There were 40-something combined trades last year between deadline day and the day before, and there were only 4 on this day. So it could happen today, could happen right now, or it's
right
more
now,
likely to occur tomorrow and or on Thursday.
Or right now.
Trust me.
Or now.
I said I would wear my clothing backwards for whatever reason if they don't make a trade. I guarantee they will make a trade, and I am overly confident multiple Padres trades will happen between now and the deadline.
Let's just start the show. Here's John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of John and Jim as we continue to react to a Padres sweep of the Mets and the upcoming Major League Baseball trade deadline, which is now 22 hours away. We're going to hear from Kevin Acee. He'll join us live at 5:30. He's covered, of course, the Padres throughout this 2025 campaign. He's our insider. He'll join us at 5:30. And in a few moments as well, Jim, we're going to hear from Fernando Tatis Jr., the social media chatter about the idea of trading for Jarren Duran is kind of fascinating. And I want to say anecdotally that most people don't think trading away Leo DeVries for Jarren Duran is a good idea. That's anecdotal. I haven't done the deep dive or spoken with everyone. And I don't even know how realistic this even is. Jarren Duran, in the midst of this great second half, is going to be moved by the Boston Red Sox the same year they moved their generational slugger in Rafi Devers. Team is 8 or 9 games over 500. Is it really even realistic?
I'm the Red Sox. I'm like, no.
Exactly. Like, keep hanging up.
I'm like, we want to add to this team, not do what you're trying to do, which is subtract and then add. And I know we traded Rafi Devers, but that wasn't because of the money. It was because we just couldn't get along with the guy. So, I mean, I saw this pop up on my timeline from BOS Sports Gordo. Works for WEEI, also covers the Red Sox, has, I guess, a Red Sox podcast on WEEI of all trades and rumors. He put out this tweet responding to the Jen McCaffrey tweet about the interest level in Duran from the Padres. And he said, Duran hitting 317 with a 1,094 OPS in July. He's been a big part of what the Red Sox are doing right now. And he's saying, look, if the Padres want to trade for Jarren Duran, not only do the Red Sox need Leo DeVries and Dylan Cease, throw in like Jeremiah Estrada as well. I'm like, okay, full stop. Nope, not happening. I am not going to be, if I'm the Padres, trading away that much. And even if you didn't trade away Jeremiah Estrada and put him in that deal for Jarren Duran, I'm still not doing that deal, dude. You can do other deals for less prospect capital and probably get the same type of return as far as like for your team, that what your team needs.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I mean, again, it's a sports talk host in Boston, so it's his opinion, just like our opinion we share every day here in San Diego. I mean, at some point, if you're AJ Preller, you turn your attention elsewhere. That's typically how life works, right?
Will he?
I mean, at some point, you probably do. He doesn't always get what he wants. He doesn't always make the trade that he may have at one point wanted to make. I mean, I said where there's smoke, there's fire with AJ Preller trying to improve his roster. But just because of this Jarren Duran pursuit does not mean he will land Jarren Duran. Like, if I was a betting man, I would bet on the Padres not landing Jarren Duran. Agree or disagree? Do you think the Padres acquire Jarren Duran or don't?
No.
Right. So that's where I start there. Not to say it's impossible, but I start from the position that I think it's unlikely the Padres acquire Jarren Duran. I like the fodder, truthfully. It's interesting. But it's one thing to trade Cease and DeVries. It's another thing to add anything more to that. Right? I mean, now you're getting into like crazy land, trading away more to acquire a player that we don't even know if the Padres need Jarren Duran.
Right.
We don't even know, like, oh man, like they gotta have this guy. And again, he's been awesome. So I don't see it. I don't think Boston wants to move him. I don't think the Padres have a lucrative enough, realistic, real offer. And I think ultimately he stays.
I agree.
That's my guess.
I don't think that the Red Sox are truly entertaining this. They're just sitting there and their phone keeps ringing because AJ's a psychopath and they're listening and they're probably like, all right, there's a deal out there potentially, but it is going to be a wholly overpay deal. Because if we're going to give you Jarren Duran, a big piece of our team the last month to help us put us in a position where we're at today, then we're going to wait until the last moment to see what your final offer will be. And if that final offer is like what this Red Sox host is saying, a Jeremiah Estrada, Dylan Cease, Leo DeVries.
Well, then you basically have to say yes if you're both. At some point, you say yes.
Yeah, they're at some point you're right.
That's how life works. It's like I don't want to sell my home, dude.
But if someone offers
goes,
you
now it's $100,000 over ask. Now it's $1 million. I mean, at some point, like, come on,
you have to do it.
That's basically how life works. I mean,
but I would be not thrilled with AJ if that were the case, if that did happen.
The heaven and earth trade moved everything to acquire this player that you're pursuing.
Right.
Let's go to the phones. 877-767-4760. What do you guys think? 877-767-4760 as you drive home. Let's go to CJ on line 1. CJ, thanks for calling in. You're on with John and Jim.
Thank you very much. You know, I look at this trade deadline, and there's another event that is coming up in baseball that John Seidler is going to need to make sure he's paying attention to as well. And that is the impending lockout/strike that is coming after next season if things keep going the way they are. And after that strike and maybe a lost, number of months or maybe a lost season, you're going to have multiple players on this team who that is really hard to come back from at their age. So if you really want this window to happen, you got to let AJ cook. And you got to let him go do things that the Padre fans have been sold on Salas and they've been sold on DeVries. But if you can go out and get players that give you the opportunity to win now or next season, I think you have to take that chance. And the Dodgers are very beatable this year. They have yet to get the guys they wanted. Duran and also the closer from the Cardinals are no longer available to them. That is a huge weakness for that team in that bullpen. I think the Dodgers are completely beatable. Go get them and burn the ships.
Burn the ship. I'd say it's a good call. I like the perspective. I wouldn't let a impending lockout impact any of my decision making. It's a year and a half away.
Mm-hmm. If it was next year,
then maybe. But from an ownership perspective, maybe it does matter. The idea of burn the ships, let's put it all in the middle of the table, man. All these chips, just keep throwing them in. I get it. I understand it. They haven't won a World Series. That's the ultimate goal. What's it going to take?
Because wasn't that the thought process at the start of the season? Burn the ships,
Basically.
Keep Cease, keep King, keep Suarez, keep Arise, and see what you could do and go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's changed?
If anything, they've played better than the projections.
How about this? How about a scenario? And obviously it's not, but it's like a hypothetical. What if Cease was having a really good year?
Mm-hmm.
What if Robert Suarez had like a 1.9 ERA?
Well, you'd never move either.
What if Jake Cronenworth was having a great season? What if Luis Arise was having a really good season? What do you do then? Because those are the 4 players that we've been talking about the most as the most available or the players that would most likely be traded to free up money.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why we're talking about Dylan Cease being traded here is because he's having a bad season. But what if he was having a good season? What if Suarez was having a good season? What if Jake was having a better year than is having right now? What if Arise was having a better year than he's having right now?
Sure.
Then what do you do? Because if the plan all along this year was, all right, we're going to go for it, go into the season with all these guys, we're not going to trade everybody. Well, you still know around the corner is that, hey, we need to get under this number, the deadline. So then what do you do? Like, what was the plan? Was this the plan all along?
Well, what's hard there is that's a little bit of a moving target, right? Because you're right. If the players that are making 10 to 15 million are having good years, and you don't want to move them. Is there then a player that's also making? I'd have to look at who's making what. Because is there a 5th player making 10 to 20 million dollars that if they are then having a subpar player a year, they become the expendable one in that hypothetical?
Well, my hypothetical revolves around the players at the beginning of the year that you were looking to trade or offload to free up money to help you out elsewhere. All those players are having good seasons. And they're still at where they're at right now.
Right. I get it.
Which it could be the case.
Right.
Then what do you do?
Then you probably find someone else to move.
What if that?
I mean, there's always an option.
There's always an option.
But
those are the names that were the likeliest to be moved to free up money, right?
Yeah, well, like, for example, what's the Michael King AAV? What if he had a 4.8? What's the Yu Darvish AAV? What if he had a 4.8 and was healthy?
But okay, then.
But then, there's always a part of a puzzle.
And what if Michael King was hurt?
But right, but now we're talking about so many variables. There's so many variables. AJ Preller was always going to have a way to move money, probably if he needed to. And that includes right now. There's a way to move the money. I get your point. If Cease was good, you're not moving him. If Suarez was better, you're not moving him. And I'm still not moving him. I'm still not moving them, is my point. My point is I'm still betting on them.
We have a developing story
in
baseball. Shohei Ohtani, who was on the mound today pitching, just walked off the mound with the Dodgers trainer after throwing 6 consecutive balls and looking quite frustrated, according to Bob Nightingale. Uh-oh.
Well, that is interesting. Of course, he didn't pitch last year for him. So there's always that,
still won.
They still won without him pitching. But the question is, what is he dealing with? But yeah, I mean, the caller CJ's right. Is the door open because LA hasn't taken the ball and run away? Yeah, probably. Doesn't mean they're not going to win a World Series, but I mean, based on the way they've played this year and the injuries that they've dealt with, I mean, are they truly an invincible team just across the National League in general?
Nope.
No, they're not invincible. Of course not.
Now they've had your number this year and postseason last year.
Yeah.
But that's a big developing story in the National League for
Absolutely.
sure. I mean, if you're just looking at the Dodgers from that standpoint, like, man, that organization when it comes to injuries for their pitchers,
insane,
awful,
insane.
I mean, it feels like they're one of the worst teams in the sport when it comes to developing pitchers and keeping pitchers healthy.
It's crazy. It really is crazy. All right, that is a developing story. We're going to hear from Fernando Tatis Jr. coming up on the other side. Plus at 5:30, our Padres insider Kevin Acee joining us live with the trade deadline just hours away. Padres, meanwhile, have won 5 consecutive games. Stay with us. We'll hear from Toddy and then Kevin Acee at 5:30. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We'll hear from Fernando Tatis Jr. in the clubhouse postgame in a moment. Kevin Acee will join us coming up in about 12 minutes. iHeartRadio Music Festival back, live performances by The Offspring and more. September 19th and 20th, T-Mobile in Vegas, 2 nights, 1 stage. Tickets at AXS.com. While the world is listening on iHeartRadio, you could be there. 3 chances every weekday to win your trip for 2 plus $1,000 spending money. We've got your first chance to win starting next Monday at 6 a.m. All the info at sportsSD.com/festival. All right, so Shohei Ohtani walking off the mound with a trainer today in Cincinnati. Trade deadline coming up tomorrow at 3 p.m. Padres are hot.
Ohtani was 51 pitches into his outing. He threw 6 consecutive balls and then left the game.
So we'll see what that means. All right, let's hear from Fernando Tatis Jr. about today, about the upcoming trade deadline. Now, this starts, because Brent told me what this starts with. This starts with Tatis. What does a series like this say about the Padres?
I mean, we're just playing really clean baseball. And we got hits when we needed them. We got on base, and our defense is just off the chart. So when you combine all that, good stuff is going to happen.
This sounds a lot like the Padres of last second half and the first month and a half of this year. You guys said you were that team. Just way you played the last, say, 2-3 weeks reinforced for you guys how good you are?
I mean, we got to do it every single day. Just like that. If you're saying that we're capable of and like that we can do it, we better go out there and do it.
You had a really good view on Jake's catch. What makes that catch so incredible?
Just putting his body out there, not being afraid of that landing, and he's going all out every single time.
And there's so much conversation and focus on the trade deadline, but what does it mean to get that version of you, Darvish, for the performance that he had today?
It's really good. I mean, really happy for him. First couple outings didn't go his way, but he bounced back, and he really bounced back big.
How closely are you going to pay attention to what's happening in the next 24 hours with the deadline being tomorrow?
I'm going to be sleeping, so I don't know about that. I'll leave that to AJ.
Your hand. Ball gets your hand. How was that?
Yeah, I mean, it was sore at the time. Feeling better now, so just another one.
Please start, especially since the All-Star break.
Just been a good at bats, right swing decisions, and we're getting lucky that they're landing.
What do you think it says to the guys upstairs that you guys just got to sweep against the team in first place?
That they better get us help, and we're going for it, and we're going to keep playing good baseball.
Interesting.
So the end of that, where he says they better get us help. We're going to go for it and hopefully play good baseball.
A directive from Fernando Tatis Jr.
Get us help, not tinker with this team and move pieces and do this and do that and mess with the chemistry and mess with the club as it's currently constructed right now, I think is what he's exactly saying, John.
And what he's also saying is that he'll find out what move they make when he walks into the clubhouse on Friday because he'll be sleeping tomorrow. Like they could literally trade everyone. He's like, I don't care.
That must be such a good feeling to know that you are not getting traded and you have an off day on the trade deadline day and you don't have to worry about a thing.
You don't have to worry about anything, man. No trade clause.
You can just do
prime of your
Oh, my
career.
goodness.
Yeah, you're right, because 80% of the league is thinking about what tomorrow means.
Now, not everybody has off days tomorrow.
No, but I'm saying like 80% of players could be moved. Like there's
for
always
sure.
a scenario. Like
Yeah.
we're talking about Jaron Duran. We're talking about Dylan Cease. Guys, finished top 2 for a Cy Young. Jay Cronenworth, he's had a good, productive career. Believe me, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about what's possible over the next 24 hours.
Didn't something happen today in the Twins game, like during the game with Johan Duran when he got traded? And it just was very awkward.
I don't know what happened. What was it?
I was asking.
Yeah,
you.
I didn't see it. I don't know. Maybe. There's been so much out there. Yesterday he was hugging his teammates, but he wasn't traded, right? But today he was traded, and I don't know if he hugged his teammates afterwards.
All he's been doing is hugging his teammates.
There's been a lot of hugging going
Yeah.
on. You said it's Hug Watch.
It is Hug Watch season.
It's Hug Watch.
Now
season.
we won't be able to have Hug Watch tomorrow for the Padres because they don't have a game.
I know.
And
I
even
know.
if they did, it would be 6:40 after the deadline. So
right.
But we didn't have any hugs today in the dugout. from anybody, right?
Right. I'm looking back to see what Jeff Passan wrote today because I do kind of recall something, but I don't really remember. Yesterday said Durant has not been traded. He was just talking his bullpen catcher because that's what friends do.
Right.
That's hilarious. But today it's real. As he's been traded to the Phillies. Here's my question. Here's my number one question from Kevin Acee for Kevin Acee.
Okay.
Is there what's the payroll issue that they're dealing with? Is there a directive to stay where they are at this number? Can they not go higher than this number? Because why is he writing that in order to get an impact bat, they have to move salary? So does that mean he has the reporting to suggest John Seidler is unwilling to take on salary? Because without that reporting, how do we know they can't acquire an impact bat without moving salary?
Right.
What is it to suggest they have to move salary?
Yeah. What is the reasoning behind that?
Is it because we saw their offseason moves and they were light on payroll spending?
Like, we know that they're not going to be a team that spends $300 million as a payroll. And truthfully, a payroll of $262 million is plenty.
Mm-hmm.
You can win. And we've seen teams win with far less. $262 million. Like, that's a lot of money. I mean, if you asked any Padres fan 10 years ago, hey, by the way, in 10 years, the payroll of this team is going to be $262 million. Everyone would be like ecstatic.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone would be like, are you serious?
Right.
But we're sitting here at $262 million and we're like, add more.
Yeah, like keep adding.
Like keep adding because they need additional pieces. And additional pieces to add it to this current roster would really help. I think if they subtract from the current roster to then add pieces to the roster, I mean, you're risking things here, and you're creating additional problems for yourself that you also have to address tomorrow as well. Because there's been no trades and no activity from the Padres. It's all smoke right now. So you have less than 24 hours to trade Dylan Cease, acquire a pitcher to replace Dylan Cease, maybe use the prospects to get a bat or two, and then trade for a reliever. Like, can you do all that in less than 24 hours?
The answer is 100% yes.
Okay.
Actually, it's one. If that's what they want to do, they can do it.
It's a lot of work.
But come on, with Preller, he's not going to get. It's not going to be because it's not going to be because they can't do the work. He can certainly do the work.
He can do the work.
And the first move is
lot.
coming. It is a lot. A first move is coming sooner rather than later. Kevin Acee is going to join us on the other side. Padres beat the Mets. Trade deadline's coming. Kevin Acee on the other side. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by the Jim Buttrell real estate team. Padres finished off the sweep of the Mets today with a 5-0 victory. Padres have won 5 games in a row. We're less than 24 hours away from the trade deadline. Padres also have an off date tomorrow where they'll start a 3-game series to finish up their 6-game homestand against the Cardinals on Friday night. And some trades going down today. Pirates traded third baseman Brian Hayes to the Cincinnati Reds. Giants traded Tyler Rogers to the Mets, and Johan Duran was traded from the Twins to the Phillies. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Buttrell has the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
Padres are winning. The deadline is looming, and we're catching up with our Padres insider, Kevin Acee, who is on top of it all. So, Kevin, we appreciate you taking time. We know it's busy. I saw what you wrote earlier in the day about the Padres continuing to seek an impact bat, which makes sense, even though their offense has played better since the All-Star break. To add the bat, will it require them moving salary, in your opinion, from their big league roster? And thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, it sure seems that way still. And, whether that's Dylan Cease, who starting almost right after his start, you started to hear that maybe that wasn't likely. I don't know. This is lighter season. And then today you hear a little bit more about Robert Suarez, and you see the reliever market moving, and you see that that's a way that they could also get some salary, cut some salary. And, they do plan to add starting pitching, but certainly have wanted to add a reliever regardless of whether Suarez stays or not. But I think that any move really requires them, from this is my understanding talking to people for weeks now, does require them to unload somebody.
So that would mean that the directive from the organization and John Seidler is to AJ Preller, they have a budget and a number that they have given him that he has to stay under by the end of the season, correct?
Well, yes. I mean, and from my understanding, I'm not sure that it's a hard number, though I haven't really been able to nail that down for sure. Just the idea for sure that they just don't have a lot. And again, I'll reiterate, they're at nearly $225 million in commitments in terms of after they pay the overages on the CBT and they pay the player bonuses, and they have the 9th highest payroll. So they have committed quite a bit of money, and this is where they're at now. I mean, not only is it liar season, it's it's lunatic season. At times, maybe people get carried away, but the fact is the Padres have been pretty judicious since the passing of Peter Seidler, and I don't anticipate that there would be this change like, oh, we found $5 million for you, go get this guy. I don't see that happening. It'll be that'd be great because it'd be a great story, and I'm sure Padres fans would be super happy, but I don't see that happening.
Well, we'll know obviously everything by the time we get to this deadline tomorrow. Like, we'll see the hand that the Padres were playing from come tomorrow at 3:00 Pacific. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He's with us. From your perspective and based on your reporting, what do you see as their needs? You wrote about the bat. You just told us, that they may have plans to add a reliever. Maybe they'd like to add starting pitching. When you just look at it from like 30,000 feet, if they could accomplish fill all of their needs, what would they be doing over the course of the next one day?
Man, I'm starting to second guess this. And the people in the organization who thought they needed catchers, I mean, their catchers are raking. So the bottom line is, from my understanding, and this makes all the sense in the world, if you can add someone that puts Jake Cronenworth and Gavin Sheets in the bottom 30 of your lineup, you have made your lineup better. And that is one heck of a lineup. That's if everyone, keeps, I don't think that they're going to keep going where everyone in the lineup's hitting for the rest of the season and into the playoffs. But if you keep being the Padres offense of, the bulk of last year, the early part of this year, and then most of July, you add a bat to that, they feel really good. again, like before I even believed it, they've been talking about getting a reliever, knowing that they have incredible relievers. They've done a remarkable job managing their workload for as much as they have to work. And they've got a little fortunate in terms of just, timing of off days, timing of good starts by guys, well, whatever. The incredible efficiency of these relievers, but they know that they need another strong arm back there. So that's where I think if we're going to believe that they got better, and oftentimes fool's gold at the trade deadline where you're like, oh man, look what they got. And it really doesn't help a team. But sometimes it does. Did last year for the Padres with the relievers. But if we're going to believe that they got better tomorrow at 3:09, like when we know everything's all done, it's got to be a bat and a reliever, I think.
And going back to the money and the budget, and they would just love $5 million to show up here, and then they could go out and make a couple moves, right? Like back to the beginning of the year, Kevin, they didn't trade away any players. They kept the players here. The money was, still an issue, right? So what was was this their plan all along? And what if these guys were having good seasons? What if Dylan Cease was having a good season? What if all the players that potentially could have been moved to the deadline and could be moved to the deadline, what if they were all having good years? Like, what do you do then?
Okay. I don't know. Maybe you don't feel like you need another bat, but I don't know, would you always want to bolster the bullpen? I don't know. You mean like, would they be getting rid of them? No. This is that they have to add a bat. And so to make room, they probably have to lose some money. If they didn't need to add a bat, Jason Hayward was here or something, or the big five, I guess.
Well, what I'm saying, Kevin, is what I'm saying is, like, their needs are still their needs, but the players that they currently have that they're shopping, like Cease and potentially Suarez, and you've talked a lot about Jake Cronenworth, everyone calls on Jake. Or if those guys were having good years, do you really want to rock the boat by moving those guys just because you need to add another bat?
But if everyone was having a good year,
right? Then obviously, they'd probably be having a better season. I get it, but I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to think of, because today I've come to the thought process of like, why can't they just add to the good thing they have going right now instead of having to subtract? But then it always goes back to, well, the money is the problem. It's like, well, why is $5 million a big problem? Why can't they just add to what they have? I don't know. It's confusing to me because like you're possibly subtracting a guy like Dylan Cease and creating another issue for your team.
And everybody's got limitations. Absolutely. I can't argue with you, except that then to say we have to deal in reality, and adding $5 million is adding $9 million or whatever, if after, overages and all that stuff. Or $7.5 million or whatever it is that I forget. Now you're over the second threshold and, you're getting taxed at a higher rate. You got to, they were at a point where they were getting Elias Diaz and Michael King to structure their contracts in such a way that it would save them $3 million. That's how tight things were for them to get to the number 9 payroll in baseball. It just, like, maybe they were going to have a little dry powder at the trade deadline, and maybe they do have a little. But to get the kind of bat that they're talking about to add, they're either going to need to swing a deal, and maybe it's that they unload somebody and someone takes some salary of a guy, or they need to swing a deal that is going to, is going to lower their payroll so they can fit that person in. It's just the reality. It's just the reality. Look, there's all sorts of stuff out there, and that's why it makes me laugh so much when people talk about the Padres are in on something. It's quite possible that AJ Preller is going to shock us, and he's going to find somebody that they didn't really have to add payroll to. I don't know who that is, guys, but I'm just saying that's what everyone in this league believes, is that the Padres need to do the kind of a salary swap.
Kevin Acey's our Padres insider, is with us right now. I do understand it because of their payroll commitments. And at some point, it's like you do work from, almost all of the teams work from a budget. Outside of Steve Cohen or Guggenheim, almost all of the teams. And it makes sense that at some point in San Diego, you're working from a budget. Here's my question. What would be your level of surprise if the Padres moved either Leo DeVries or Ethan Salas between now and tomorrow at 3.
Talking if it was DeVries, that's a guy who I think the way internally you talk about guys that are part of the family, right? And DeVries is that guy. I would be shocked. Salas, I mean, you heard his name out there. I'm not 100% sure that was the case, that was a real thing. I don't know that, but you did see a report out there from a reputable, from a Boston outlet. I always thought that he wasn't on DeVries level, almost like he was like Gore to Tatis, or I guess Woods to Merrill, right? Like, dang, we don't want to give this guy up, but if we have to get a really good player, then we'll do it. But I don't think that I don't think Leo is going anywhere.
How much did Yu Darvish's great outing today maybe give reassurance to AJ that hey, I can trade Dylan Cease here, and if Darvish is going to pitch close to this, like, whoa.
Yeah, there's so much there because yes, you would think, right? But you can't with any pitcher say, all right, one outing, even the guy with the history of Yu Darvish, where you're like, okay, we've seen that before. That's Yu Darvish. All right, we feel good now. But you got to be careful too, because like, I'm not saying there's something wrong, like that's going to pop up with his elbow, but like the guy's got, guy's a ticking time bomb, whether that time bomb is 3 years from now, 2 years from now, or 2 months from now. So I don't think, this would fall into the category of you can never have too much pitching, but it was highly reassuring for everybody what Yu Darvish did today.
I think we touched on this Monday, but I want to ask again, Michael King, the sim game, now it's this weekend in AAA. And from there, it may be conceivable, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, that he would be pitching in the major leagues 5 or 6 days after that. Is that realistic?
He'll be pushing for that. But I that's rough. So what did he do? 30 pitches, something like that, 35. So now what's this one go up to 50? Do you really want to, does he need another one? So, 5 to 10 days, it certainly does seem like his mid-August projection is real.
All right, Kevin, if you're a betting man, because next time we're going to talk to you is out to the deadline. Do they trade Cease or not?
I'm going to say no. Look, a lot of smoke, so maybe there's fire. My understanding is that maybe they believe they're going to be better off, though the asking price on both is still extremely high, and nothing has dissuaded them from that, because look what people are giving up, from my understanding. I'm not as familiar with other teams' prospects or even their players, that it's big cost out there for back-end relievers, and that they might be better served to move Robert Suarez. So I'm gonna go on the limb and say no. Even all the smoke, I'm gonna say no. Dylan Cease is still here.
Same question.
And there's a lot of complicating factors too for Dylan Cease, right? Like people are questioning what are they getting with Dylan Cease.
Same question then on Suarez. He's here or not in 24 hours?
I'm gonna go ahead and say no, and that's just Kevin AC going, all right, well, I think they have to trade one of them. I'm gonna say it's Suarez. They have strength in the bullpen. How do they replace Dylan Cease's innings? But I'm nowhere. I don't have the calculus in my brain of what these guys. I'm actually, that I'm not a big trade deadline fan. When it gets down to the final day and AJ Preller is involved, and having the history that I do of covering it, I actually am fascinated and excited to find out what it is.
Yeah. Well, at least there's an off day tomorrow for you. You don't have to be covering a game as well.
Yeah. Yes, I will look at it that way.
There you go.
Off day.
Hey, that's my first off day in like a month, and I'll be covering the trade deadline.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm a big person on choosing how you look at something. So thank you for that reminder. It's great.
You're welcome.
Go kayaking or go for it. You don't even need to be by your phone.
Yeah, that's fine.
I do have sources reporting that Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. are likely to stay post deadline, though.
Can you confirm, Kevin?
So you can.
I feel good.
Yeah.
Feel good about that.
You can use that if you want to. Kevin, we appreciate you. Be well over the next 24 hours. We know it's busy, and we'll catch up before this Cardinals series begins on Friday.
All right, take care, guys.
We appreciate it. Kevin Acey, our Padres insider, again brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Reaction in Jim's back page next, John and Jim. All right, Jim. Hours away from the 2025 Major League Baseball trade deadline. We'll be with you throughout tomorrow. Join us before at 2 p.m. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. We will get you ready for tomorrow's trade deadline. Then we'll have full reaction afterwards as well. And we will be refreshing our phones like you will be as well over the next 20 plus hours. Were you okay with what Kevin had to say about the justification on the budget that the Padres are working from, or that doesn't sit well with you?
I get it. Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, I understand like every team's going to have a budget. Rarely do you see a team just be like unlimited spending. Padres had it briefly and it was like, well, they didn't win a World Series. So does it really work? And the Mets have spent a bunch of money, Yankees, Dodgers, right? Dodgers did win a World Series.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we're talking about like $5 million. I mean, Kevin mentioned, is there $5 million out there to spend? Like to add to this payroll? Because with the tax, it would then be like 8 or 9,
right,
whatever it is. Like Kevin's saying no. And I'm like, really?
Right.
Can't do that? Seriously? And I know by the moves they made in the offseason, it was foreshadowing like what they were having to work with. But then once you get into the season and then once you see what you got, wouldn't it make it easier or more enticing to be like, you know what? Let's just spend a little more.
I agree with that thinking. I agree. I mean, if it's not a crazy influx of money, like, yeah, there's going to be a point where you can't spend. But you're right. I mean, if it's to bring in $3 or $5 million in salary, it seems like that is a reasonable sum. If you think you can make a postseason run or win a World Series, I mean, what are we talking about?
Right.
$3 to $5 million to maybe win a World Series?
Like, oh, we can't go out and get this player because we can't add that $5 million contract. So we have to trade Dylan Cease or Robert Suarez to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, what?
It does seem a little counterintuitive and odd. You've come all the way to this point, and now you're $3 million or $5 million shy of accomplishing your goals. That to me is a little surprising. Want to do a back page?
Sure.
Then let's do them.
So ESPN today announced they are cutting ties with Shannon Sharp. I didn't even realize he was off the air.
For what reasons?
The sexual assault lawsuit.
Oh, that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
I didn't realize he was still employed.
Me too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I saw that today and I'm like, isn't that like old news?
So what podcast will he be starting, or does he already have one?
He already has his own podcast.
All right. Well, that's his future.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of talking heads that have been at ESPN recently that are in the news for all the wrong reasons.
Fox too, right? Fox has had a number of ties cut recently.
But the Gilbert Arenas news today about the gambling scandal.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Marcus Morris the other day.
Keep track of it. I don't watch those shows.
I don't want to keep track of it. But there was a clip today with Stephen A. Smith and then Marcus Morris and Gilbert Arenas and Shannon Sharp all on the desk. And I'm like,
they're all gone.
Good job, ESPN.
Right.
Or good job, Stephen A. Smith, bringing all your buddies in. And they're all getting in trouble with the law. So, Shannon Sharp officially out at ESPN. I don't think really anybody's being like, oh, man, I can't believe Shannon Sharp's gone.
No, I don't think so either. There's not a lot of outrage today, is there?
No.
I don't think so.
No. I would ask you if you eat this, but you don't because you don't eat meat.
Correct. So I don't.
So you don't.
What is
so
it?
You're the wrong person to ask about these things. But you've heard of Habit, right?
Yeah. The burger chain?
Yep. Habit Burger and Grill.
Of course.
Well, if you like Habit Burger and Grill and you're like, man, this place is underrated. Not many people talk about this. Oh, people talk about it.
Okay.
Because Habit Burger and Grill, for the second straight year, was named the best fast food burger in the U.S.
In the U.S.?
According to a poll conducted by USA Today.
Wow. I wouldn't have realized that.
The chain's signature double char beat out burgers from In-N-Out and Five Guys to earn the top spot. So for the second straight year, Habit is celebrating the number one fast food burger in the United States, according to this poll by USA Today.
They're like the John and Jim of sports talk radio in San Diego of burger joints nationally. They're just winning awards, but they're not.
Nobody knows about them,
recognized.
but they win all these awards.
Am I wrong? I mean,
they're just consistently solid.
Yeah.
We're like Habit.
What else?
We're like this unknown little chain.
Yeah.
Just keep on moving. Little engine that could.
Right.
No, actually, a lot of people know Habit. I mean, Habit's really good.
Unlike John and Jim.
Unlike John.
So it's not the same.
Exactly. Here are the top 10 for best fast food burgers, in the United States. Coming in at number 10, the Double Meat Whataburger.
Okay.
Number 9, the Whopper from Burger King. Number 8, Freddy's Original Double from Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. Never heard of that before. Number 7. We're done.
Yeah, we're
the
done.
Shack Burger from Shake Shack. Number 6, a cheeseburger from Five Guys. Number 5, a Butter Burger Cheese Double from Culver's. Number 4, a Double from In-N-Out. Number 3, a Jumbo Jack from Jack in the Box. Number 2, the Papa Burger from A&W. Huh? And then number 1, the Double Char from Habit.
From Habit. By the way, Alden Gonzalez looks like Shohei Ohtani left his start with cramping in his lower body. Nothing arm related. Cramping per ESPN's Alden Gonzalez. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., Warrior Spot. We'll
Trade
have you
deadline
covered
show.
For the deadline. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here. This is San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Bye-bye.